What up, people? This is Danny. Adventure is not equally my shows. It's just three guys talking. First person I'm going to bring in is my Mr. Terrence. How you doing, Terrence? Can you
I'm
hear me?
alright. How you doing? Yeah, can you hear me?
All right. And next person I'm going to bring in is Mr. Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, Jason? Can you hear me,
What's
Jason?
up? How you guys doing?
All right.
I got you
Uh,
loud and clear.
all right. Before we get started, people, this is not equilibrium or it's not the chaotic conversation. This is just three guys talking about things that interest us and whatever the chat wants to talk about, we're going to talk about. I did write down a couple of topics to try to just have food for thought and spark conversation. But before we get into that, if this is the first time you're viewing my channel, please subscribe. I need you to subscribe to try to get to my goal of 1,500 before Father's Day of this year, which is the third weekend, I believe, in June, third Sunday in June. Also, please hit the notification bell. I don't want you to miss any material that I upload. And please give me a thumbs up. That's going to help with the YouTube algorithm. I am currently trying to get my 4,000 hours. That's why I'm trying to do as many live streams as possible, working on that. Any of you can go on my channel and hit my playlist and play that loop. That helps with my hours also. So I appreciate that. Any comments that you leave, I will respond to. Yesterday we spoke about two polls I have. I usually try to put a weekly poll up. I haven't put one up. We discussed two of them yesterday that I put up. I'm going to make sure I do a new one today. I got to think of something to put up there. That'd be interesting. But other than that, thank you for joining us. Like I said, it's me, Terrence, and Jason. Just going to try and just shoot stuff and see what's going on. Anything interesting. We're going to try and spark a conversation. Hopefully, we'll make you think. And definitely, we hope we'll make you laugh. And try and get us through this crazy time. Somebody got their speaker on?
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
No
Turn
problem.
that off.
First thing I'm gonna talk about. Tell me what y'all think about it. I've been seeing this show coming on. They've been advertised on TV a lot called Snowpiercer. That might be pretty interesting. About I guess is the world has frozen over. There's a certain number of people that was on this train, and now the train just circles the globe. But I think it got different classes, like the upper classes in a certain part of it, and the working class and the poor. Have you ever seen? I think that's a movie that was made. This is a remake, if I'm not mistaken.
There was a movie actually. I didn't see the movie, but there was a movie like that. Can't remember who was in it too, but I don't think it did very well.
I believe the guy that played Captain America, was in the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. That's right. That's right.
Have you seen it, Terrence?
If it's a movie I'm thinking about, I think I saw it one time. As far as the advertisements for the show, I kind of was mad on it. Like I didn't really care for it that much. Kind of looks like something I've seen on the Sci-Fi Channel, but just with a higher production rate. So it just didn't really catch my attention.
I didn't even see the preview for it.
Review's pretty intense.
Oh yeah.
Um, like I said, this is a remake. I didn't watch the first one, but I think this is going to be a show. I think it's coming on FX, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to try and check it out and see if it's worth watching. But it was one of the things I wrote down to see whether or not anybody's really interested in it. It don't sound like anybody's interested.
I might check it out. If I see the trailer and it looks pretty good, I'll check it out.
I got
But if it doesn't catch me within the first two episodes, then I'm done.
I got you. Next thing, Fantasy Island. Do you remember it as a kid, Jason?
Of course. Yeah,
Mr.
absolutely.
Well, they got a remake
Absolutely.
now, but I think it's going to be a horror story. I think Blumhouse is doing it. And I saw the
Well, that,
preview here about a month ago, and I was like, what are they doing?
well, that's what they did with the movie, right? The movie ended up being a horror.
I think it's going to be a horror the way I'm seeing it. And the guy that played Ant-Man's sidekick, the Hispanic guy, he's going to be Mr. Rourke.
Yeah,
I don't
that's right.
see him playing that part like the traditional Mr. Rourke did. And then they had a remake in the 90s that who played that? Jerry Odell? I think played Mr. Rourke the second time. He didn't do a very.
Oh yes. I know which dude you're talking about.
The
I
guy
know
that
which dude you're
played
talking
in
about.
what's the thing about the
Yes.
helicopter? Not
Which
Airwolf,
one?
but he played in Blue Thunder. He was the bad guy in Blue Thunder. I can't think of
I
his
don't.
name.
Me neither. I know what you're talking about though. I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about though.
I hope they don't mess this up. I'm just used to seeing a traditional Fantasy Island that I grew up with. I don't see how they're gonna make that a horror story, but based on a little bit I
They're,
saw,
they're always trying something different, you know. I seen the trailer for it. I wasn't really impressed. I wasn't interested, but if it's one night it's on TV, I'll watch it.
any words, Terrence? You mighty quiet today. Everything all right?
Oh no, I was just thinking on it. Yeah, I don't have any attachments to Fantasy Island. I saw the trailer for the movie. I'm gonna watch it because it's a movie, but not because I'm just really excited about it. Like anything that's a movie, by default, I'm gonna watch it because I'm the movie guy. Like I will, try to watch everything that's ever been made. So
I got you.
I will give it a shot and then see how I feel about it. And since I'm not coming into it with any pre expectations, I can just watch it as a movie. And in some cases, I do prefer it that way. But if in the case of I'm watching a movie that happens to be a remake of a show or vice versa, then I still kind of give it a chance to see, if any of the new elements either improved upon what was done before, or if it's an entirely new pitch, just to see if it's good. Because just because it's not what I'm used to doesn't mean it's going to automatically be bad. It all depends on how the writing is and how they progress the story and characters. There's a certain way that you approach any project from a writing standpoint, and as long as you can entertain me, I can forgive things that are, I guess, different or not to my taste.
Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, third thing I want to interested in seeing is this Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I
Oh
think
yeah,
coming out next month, if I'm not mistaken. That looks like
yeah.
it's going to be pretty good. I just saw the last one, Red Sun. So if it's going to be anything along those lines, for storytelling, I'm definitely ready to see it. I'm interested to see who's going to voice Darkseid. I always like Mac Ironside as Darkseid. I thought he just had the perfect voice, and but I know he probably won't do. He might be too old to do it. Well, not really too old to be a voice actor, but I hope he reprised that role because that he was my favorite Darkseid voice
Um,
Which did he do the dark side voice in? Which cartoon?
in the animation.
Yeah, which one?
I think it was the Justice League. Uh,
War?
the one where Batman avoided his Omega beams.
Okay, yeah.
That was the first Justice League, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you, I
Hmm.
think you talking about Justice League War or something like that, maybe.
That's it, right? Yeah, that was a good one.
So yeah, yeah, I saw the first Justice League Dark movie with Constantine and Swamp Thing and Zatanna and Dead Man. Like that shit was really good. It had the R rating on it, so they were able to, tell the story they needed to tell. I like the animation style of the first one, so naturally with this one, of course, I'm excited and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it before it becomes available to buy because they always release it like 3 weeks on digital first, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
you're able to buy it after that. But with the stores and stuff, you know how that is. But either way, I'm still gonna stick to my usual methods when it comes to watching stuff like that. So whenever it's DC animation, I've seen all their movies, and they got more than like 30 something movies. So uh, they got a separate they got a separate creative department for that in terms of their DC animation. I like that Warner Brothers actually has different people working on stuff. They got people that do the
Hmm.
the animation. They got Greg Berlanti who does the majority of DC live action shows, like most notably the Arrowverse, and then even stuff like Titans and Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing, he has a hand in those shows in terms of creative direction. And then you had Walter Hamada. I'm not sure if he's still there, but he was doing the whole DCEU stuff. So when it comes to your different DC properties, you want to make sure that you have a certain creative team because DC has a lot of different creative and inventive stories, and you don't want them all to feel the same because DC Comics, if nothing else, they're very different from each other. So you want your shows and movies to reflect that. So you would get people that may not like this show, but they can like that show. They don't like this movie, but they can like that movie. And that's what I do appreciate about DC is that you get a lot of different flavors. You get to pick your poison.
Yeah. I'm looking back now, and he voiced Darkseid in the Superman the animated series. He was Darkseid. He did one episode in the New Adventures of Batman, and he was also in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. He has a good voice though. Like
yeah,
he would do good as Darkseid.
I love
He has
his
a good
voice.
voice.
I liked him ever since he played in V.
Yeah, me too. Me
Oh
too.
wait, well, which one?
V, the Visitors.
You talking
Before
about
Terrence time.
Probably before your
talking
time,
about
Terrence.
Jeremy? You talking about Jeremy Irons?
Yeah.
Michael
Oh, okay.
Ironside.
Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
He played in that. He was a bad guy in what's the one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Where he was in space, and the guy.
Total Recall.
Yeah. I know who you talking about. Yeah, Total Recall.
Total
He was
Recall,
also
yeah.
a bad guy in the next Karate Kid. I know exactly everything you've been saying now.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's always a bad guy now.
yeah, he was a drunk daddy in Major Pain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He got his ass whooped by Damon Wayans. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I may be a little younger than you guys, but my taste strands all the time.
oh yeah,
For
we
sure.
got you.
We know.
I just got to refresh your memory.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Number 4, I'm ready to see Mulan. I think it's going to be better based on what I've seen. I never saw the animated version. I wasn't really too interested in that. But based on what the 2 trailers I saw, I want to see that. And I think it's going to be better than Lion King live action. It's probably going to be better than Will Smith as the genie live. I mean, which wasn't bad. I saw it on Disney Plus. I wasn't disappointed. He wasn't Robin Williams, but he didn't stink up the place.
It's actually better than I thought.
Yeah. So to me he saved the movie. He did a good job as a genie.
All right. Now I'm going to have to tackle all this real quick. Multiple fronts. First front, Lion King, that was very mediocre, and I didn't enjoy it. They didn't even do Scar right. They did none of the characters right.
You mean the live action, right?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm talking about. And
Mhm.
the only thing that was good about that movie was the animation, but that just shows you that the movie was lacking substance, and people went to see it because it was Lion King. You have a lot of biased humans that said it was great, but that's clearly because they like the animation, so you can't trust their opinion. And then when you go over to Aladdin, I'm like, they didn't do Aladdin right. Jasmine was okay. Will Smith was decent as the genie. I was not expecting him to be Robin Williams, nor should anybody. You should not hold someone to someone else's standard. You should hold them to their own talent and whatever their potential may be. And on that front, I thought he did a decent job. I wasn't upset. I didn't hate him, none of that stuff. Jafar was like a weak bitch without no testosterone levels, which is bad because he's the villain in the movie. He was lackluster. So that movie was very weak to me. Like, I never really want to see it again. And if I do watch it, it would be in tiny clips, and that would only have to be the scenes with Will Smith. And then in terms of Mulan, the animation, the movie was good. I didn't care for it, but the movie itself was good. So to not have seen that and then go into the live action is a very big mistake, in my opinion. The movie looks good. from like the trailer and all that looks good, but it doesn't look like the animation at all.
I think sometimes that might can be better. You hit
It's
Terrence,
supposed to be different.
Terrence, you hit you're muted. Terrence, if you can see me, you're muted. Go ahead and talk.
But yeah, so what was I saying? So yeah, Mulan, right? So
Yeah.
the movie, it looks good from a cinematic standpoint. It looks really good. It looks better than The Lion King in terms of like a movie itself. I feel like they put effort into making it look nice, as to where I feel like The Lion King is just a product of typical CGI. When you put a little bit of coin into it, Aladdin looked very flat, like something that would come on the Lifetime channel. It was devoid of magic. There was nothing magical about Aladdin. That was the main problem of the movie. But the Mulan movie has been drastically changed from the animation. You don't have the talking dragon. You don't have none of that stuff. They took away all the things that make it special. And what it looks like to me, while it looks good, it looks like it looks like a generic Chinese action movie, which is not bad, but that's not Mulan. They just took a character and that looks kind of like Mulan. They're like, this is Mulan. I'm like, no, you just took this character and put it in a traditional Chinese action movie. For the people that like that, which I do, the movie will probably be enjoyable, but I didn't see Mulan in the trailer. I just
Yeah.
was told that that's Mulan. So that's really the issue I'm running with. Because I didn't care for the animation, I'm not too broken up about it, but I was immediately able to recognize all of the changes in the first trailer, which is not good. Usually it takes me a couple trailers. I'm like, oh, I got to see the movie. I ain't got to see the movie to see that that is nothing like the animated movie.
Well,
Yeah.
they said it wasn't gonna be. They said they were taking liberties and changing things around. So
Well,
looks okay
they
though.
told us they told us that after the fact though, because when
Yeah,
Disney
yeah, yeah,
announced that
yeah,
they were doing Mulan, that's what fans expected that we were getting that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then when there was a
yeah.
backlash, and you had two different types of backlash. You had the backlash from, a lot of the American fans that saw the animation. They're like, "What is this shit?" And then you had the backlash from the Chinese people because of the things in there that they didn't like. They're very
Hmm.
particular about how their entertainment works and their idea of censorship. So Disney
Hmm.
decided to change a lot of stuff to please them. So the
Hmm.
movie just seems to be a big ball of mistake before I've even seen it, which is not good.
Hmm.
I just think that Disney try to capitalize on making it double the money for the same product. So that's all it seems like to me. Oh, we already did this, but we're gonna turn live action and we're gonna make just as much, if not more, money for the same thing.
Well, there's a little bit of that, but there's also the fact that Disney has no balls because if you've seen the animated film, there's a lot of stuff in there that a lot of people today are afraid to do and say because they also have no spine, no balls. Like you can't worry about that. You shouldn't go, oh man, like people would get offended by this. It's a movie. It's the characters are supposed to do and say certain things. Stop worrying about that. That's how you mess up creativity. So that's why
I
I
I
appreciate directors that don't care about that. Stop.
I agree to a certain extent on that, but if your bread and butter is catering to kids, which Disney is, I mean, wouldn't it be foolish to do something that might piss off that your target consumer?
No, it's not because Mulan is a kid movie. So when they did it back then, it was still a kid movie.
No, no,
And the
I'm not
fact,
talking about Mulan. You said that Disney does stuff because they don't have the balls to say stuff that may be offensive to someone. Do I understand you saying that correct?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
in terms of other movies, you're not gonna piss them off because you do. Say, for example, when they do Deadpool, if it's rated R, no one's gonna be upset about that. They're gonna be happy because that's what they want. Like people are not stupid. They know the difference between okay, this is for adults, this is for children. Disney doesn't do that because they're afraid. They like to stick to what's comfortable. And when something gets into the whole discussion of shouldn't you spice this up, they're like, they try to shy away from it and change the subject. That's what they've done.
Well,
But
you know
back
how
in the
radio.
day, though, they took a little bit more risk, but they try to be sneaky about it instead of being just open.
You know how recording artists, in particular rap artists that I listen, I mainly listen to hip hop and R&B, and in most songs they have a clean version where you can have radio play, and then they have a dirty version where you can have more underground or more. If you buy that, then you can hear the whole thing. Um, would it be feasible if Disney was to do something like that? Maybe have a PG version of movies, then a rated R, or would that be?
Um, that sounds terrible to me. It's like if you're gonna tell us that you're gonna do uh, Deadpool 3, for example, there should be no PG-13 version. No Once Upon a Deadpool. It should just be what it is. And if people are for whatever reason afraid to watch it, then they don't have to watch it. But Deadpool has already proved
No,
successful.
I mean, I don't think people be afraid to watch. I'm talking about for the kids. The kids are a lot of times people are going to see Deadpool just because their daughter or
Yeah.
son want to see it. Not all people that go see it, not all movie watchers, but some. Dad, mom, I want to go see this. I mean, how about if you're conscious or really sensitive to what your children watch? Would it make sense if Disney were to do okay for the matinee shows? You're gonna show PG version. If you want to see the rated R more adult version, then you take the shows after 9 or something like that.
I think they just
Um,
should just stick with making the rated R movie. You know, why make two movies
But they're
for
gonna
other like
because in
so
certain movies they're gonna lose money over in China because China don't allow rated R movies. So it
but
would not it would not make sense. Let me finish this point now that you talk. It won't make
mhm.
sense to make a Japanese movie like Mulan or Oriental movie or Asian movie, whatever you want to classify it is, and not be able to show it in your target audience. If it's, I don't think Mulan's going to be a PG movie, but I said if it's a rated R movie of any kind of genre, and Disney owns that particular property, it wouldn't make sense for them to make that movie and not be able to show it to their main target audience that's going to enjoy it.
well,
Case in point,
well,
Shang Chi. Why would you make
well,
Shang Chi rated R? You know you're going to lose a lot of money on the table because it's not allowed in the
well,
target audience.
o- okay. Here's the thing. Number one, Mulan is PG-13, so that's not an issue there. Number
Okay.
two, Shang Chi is not supposed to be rated R. That's not a problem there. All they have to do is make sure to not do anything that would get the movie banned in China. In terms of Deadpool, because he's supposed to be rated R, the character is already proven to make a shit ton of money without going to places that it can't. So it's already proven to be successful. This is not a new project. So Disney, Kevin Feige knows that because he's talked about it at length that he doesn't want to change the character because the character is already proved to be successful. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. So even if the movie can't go to China, it doesn't matter because Deadpool 1 and 2 were massively successful, even by rated R movie standards. It broke all kinds of records. So that doesn't matter, the places that it can't go, because it's already proven to be a success. So Disney should not worry about that. Kevin Feige, he puts out way too much stuff Marvel wise to even begin to worry about the fact that, oh, this rated R movie is not going to make as much as Endgame. Of course it's not. Endgame is PG-13. Deadpool is rated R. Just like Logan is not going to make as much as Avengers Endgame, nor is it expected to. It is R rated. Kids can't go unless they bring their parents. There's going to be some parents that are like, no, I'm not going to take my children to see no R rated movie. So, yeah, of course, naturally, your expectations for the box office are lower. But this comes with the territory. But everything is not supposed to be $1 billion film, and everything is not supposed to be equal. You make certain things for a targeted audience, and if you succeed there, then you're still successful.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. You know, like it's made so much money. Rated R didn't go to China. You don't have to change that. It'll still make money. It won't make as much as Avengers or anything like that, but it'll still make money. You'll still get a profit on it, especially if you can keep the budget low. You'll make a profit off it for sure. It's already proven to make money, so why change it?
Okay. Next topic. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just before you move, I just wanted to quickly add that um, out of the main questions that Kevin Feige gets, he does get what you're gonna do with the X Men, what you're gonna do with Fantastic Four, are you gonna do something with Blade, and then after that he gets what are you gonna do with Deadpool, and with him he's always like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine, you guys will see, and he doesn't really give a lot of specifics, but I think that he knows that if he does anything to that character, there's gonna be a problem because even Ryan Reynolds says he has an influence because his influence is what made the first one. So you would be wise to not stray away from that and do anything that would get, say, Ryan Reynolds to leave the project because he was going to walk on Deadpool 2 over creative differences. That was very close to happening. And if you lose Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
So
There's
let
no more Deadpool.
let's say they did decide to make Deadpool PG-13. You don't think it would still make money?
it will still make money. There's only one reason for that because it's an MCU movie.
Marvel.
But
Mhm.
just because it makes money doesn't mean we're going to end up with a better product. So what you would have is from a business position. That's great, right? Oh shit, Deadpool 3 it made $900 million. That's great. So how come people are upset? Well, if it's PG-13, the MCU they have a very formulaic approach, which means there's a particular layout of how they introduce and how they kill off characters. If you put Deadpool in that same bubble, you completely annihilate everything that the character is supposed to be, which is crazy and unpredictable. He can't fit into a bubble. That is already a bad creative mistake.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Okay. Um, Next topic, Spiral. I haven't heard about this. As I was looking up topics to talk about, this came up, popped up on the list. But it's a spinoff of Saw, and I believe that Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock is going to be in this. It's my understanding that Chris Rock is somehow, I guess, um, I can't think of the Jigsaw. I guess is going to leave some kind of sick thing for him, or I don't know whether or not he's going to be carrying on Jigsaw's work. I'm not sure. I know the couple times I did Saw, it was all crazy, and you think somebody be doing this, and actually they be working for Jigsaw, or he trying to punish them for something they did. It's crazy, but um, I know it's going to star Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock, so at least it's going to be some kind of ML's going to be in there, and a bunch of funny moments with Chris Rock. So, are either one of you ready to see this movie? Really hadn't thought much about it, or thoughts on it?
I'm excited for it because I love Saw. Saw's like one of my favorite horror franchises. Not all the movies were good, but I really like it. So this is basically supposed to be, I don't know if it's a remake or, but it's definitely has something to do with the Saw franchise. I don't know if they're going to put Jigsaw in it. I heard they might, but I'm definitely interested in seeing it 100%.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'm interested in seeing it because the Saw the Saw franchise as a whole in my opinion, is one of the worst horror movie franchises I've ever seen. Because you look at the first two movies, they are so good, and then it's completely downhill from there. They are desperately trying to connect everything to a character that they shouldn't have killed off in the first place. That was the worst thing that they did. When after the second movie, when you see that John Kramer he's gone, it's like, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I didn't like the sequels after two. Um, but yeah, man, like this one, it looks good, and Chris Rock's character looks like he's gonna be serious. I don't think he's gonna be joking around a lot. So that's
Yeah,
also
I don't think he's going to be joking around a lot either. I do agree with you. They did kill off Jigsaw way too soon, and they even knew that. That's why they kept bringing him back in the movies as in flashbacks. Right? They
mm,
realized they killed him. They realized they killed him off too soon. After two, they're okay. They're not the greatest, um, but I still like the franchise. I still was invested in it. I still seen them. The last one was actually pretty good. I like the way it ended. So I'm excited to see this, definitely.
Well,
Okay.
I think I think a lot of people's interest in the franchise was because of the traps and the killings. Like if
Hmm.
you remove
Hmm.
that, what else do you have without John Kramer being there?
Hmm.
Without
Hmm.
those flashbacks, you know?
That's absolutely right. Even the first one, like I said yesterday, the first one was okay to me until the twist at the end. Once I saw the twist at the end, I was like, okay, now this movie is really good. I wanted to see what happened. Part two came up and it was pretty good too. I liked it. And then three and four and the rest of them were just okay to me. But I still like the franchise.
I don't care one way or the other. If it's good, if I hear from one of y'all or somebody else on YouTube that says it's worth seeing, I may see it. Now, if I go to the movie to see it, I'll probably see it on demand or something if it comes out like that. Me and my wife could go. They're watching Little Women now. I'll probably watch The Invisible Women. I mean, The Invisible Man here shortly. But
That was actually a great film right there.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
was I was really surprised with how good that shit was. I thought they were gonna mess it up like the Mummy with um, Tom Cruise. That was atrocious. But no, this one they probably should have started this way. You can't like talk about how you're gonna do a shared monster universe, bringing back Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, the Wolfman, and all those other characters, and then you mess up with your first film out. So I think they ditched the idea for the monster universe, but with the success of Invisible Man and the positive word of mouth, especially since it was stripped from the theater so quickly, more
I
people
tell
can have time to watch it.
I don't know why they go so left on that. They hit and miss with this monster franchise. I'm glad you brought that up because, like yesterday, we spoke. I like I Am Frankenstein, but y'all didn't care for it. I like the Wolf Man that came out a few years ago with starring Anthony Hopkins and I can't think his name, Vincent Del Toro. I thought it. I thought when he transformed to the Wolf Man, that was awesome. The story wasn't all that good, but the fight between him and his dad, I thought was awesome. But it didn't do very well in the box office. So,
Those are
monster.
not connected though to the
I
shared
know I'm
universe
just
you're referring
using
to.
the monster theme,
Gotcha.
and like I love Dracula Untold. That's one of my favorite Dracula movies, vampire movies. But it didn't do well. It didn't do well. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Like I don't know. Let's see. I Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and Dracula Untold. They all have one thing in common. They don't have the to get people to care. There's not enough there outside of some visuals. Like when you actually watch it, there's not a whole lot of good storytelling going on. Like really your fandom or your appreciation of said monster or maybe whatever movies you've invested in that are similar is really the only thing that's holding your attention, which is why they didn't do too well. If the movies have to them, you will notice that more and more people will turn out for them in masses. That's how you know you have some kind of a hit. And then you can then break down as to why that film was a hit. Like, what was it about it that got people to go, we need to watch this now? What happened?
Okay.
Yeah.
Next topic, and this one I'm really not even remotely interested in. Two of my other YouTube buddies, Chris Knight and Sean Stackhouse, they're like ecstatic. But this new Ghostbusters, I ain't seen nothing that got me excited about that.
I'll see it, but I'm the same way. Like I was like, I'll see it because it's Ghostbusters, right? It's connected to the original universe, but
And,
I'm
and
like,
I'm
man,
and I'm a big Bill Murray fan. I love him. I think he is one of the
hmm
most funniest comedians, actors on the planet. But I'm not chomping at the bit. As I think about Ghostbusters 1 and 2, it ain't nothing that really connected to my childhood memories as far as movie going. I mean, I saw it. The song was cool, and everybody, who you gonna call? But something that I'm just like, yes, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not. If it makes it, it makes it. I'm definitely. I may go to the movies to see it. Only reason I'm going because my oldest grandson found the old Ghostbusters cartoon movies and he watches it.
hmm
So if he says, "Grampy, I wanna go," I may take him. But If those words don't come out of his mouth, I probably will not be seeing it in the big screen.
Really? I'll still go see it in the big screen. You know, I'll still go.
Well, let's see. I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest Ghostbusters fan because I'm not. I appreciate the Ghostbusters. The first film was one of the best movies I've ever seen from a storytelling standpoint. Like you just had great chemistry between those four main characters. The second one was nowhere near as good as the first one. Nowhere near. Like it was very dull compared to the first installment. Like if anything, the Statue of Liberty scene was the best scene in Ghostbusters 2, and one of my all-time favorite movie scenes actually too. That scene was just amazing and
Hmm.
uplifting, and it made you want to be a hero. You like, I want them to succeed against this really poorly developed villain that's a painting. Like I was like, nah, this is not the way. So didn't care for number two. In terms of the all female one, when I saw the trailer for that, I was like, why are they all females? Like it felt kind of forced. But then when I watched it, I was like, I'm actually enjoying this. This movie is silly as hell. And I'll tell you one thing, I had a better time watching that than Ghostbusters 2, if I'm gonna be honest, because I didn't like
Really?
Ghostbusters.
You talking about the
Absolutely.
female Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, you better not say
In
that out
fact,
loud.
in fact, in fact, there's two scenes that I'll point to that's better than all of Ghostbusters 2. The first one would be when they were testing out the weapons. We have never seen that in the other movies. They never went over the weapons or any of that aside from the basic one that we know. The creativity behind the weapon, like what goes into that and what different things do you need to make to take out the ghost. So they actually gave me something that I wanted to see, and they had a full blown scene doing that. They actually had two scenes like that. But the ending of the movie, when they were going up against all the ghosts and it was that huge battle and then they pulled out the different weapons and they were laying the smackdown, I'm like, what part of a painting in Ghostbusters 2 is anywhere near as epic as that one scene? Forget the movie, just that one scene. There is none. Like the only scene that someone can point to would be the Statue of Liberty scene. But what other scene do you have in Ghostbusters 2 that's as epic as
Uh,
Ghostbusters taking on hundreds of ghosts at the same time? Something that we've
I
never
don't know,
seen
man.
before.
I was gonna say the scene where he's standing and they're under the ground and the train comes at him and he almost dies. That scene had me rolling. Like I
That's
love
fair.
that
That
scene.
Talking about Ernie.
Ernie Hudson, yeah, where
So,
the invisible train goes at him.
yeah.
okay, but that's funny though. But what other scene aside from the Statue of Liberty has the epicness of the fight scene at the end of the most recent Ghostbusters? Aside from the Statue of Liberty.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I couldn't tell you.
See,
I
so
I I,
well,
I
you didn't see
breezed through it.
Ghostbusters 2?
I mean, I didn't see the female Ghostbusters, so I couldn't. I can't tell you.
No, but I mean, but you saw Ghostbusters 2. That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking you. Aside from the Statue of Liberty scene, what
yeah.
other scene in that movie would classify as epic? Not funny, but epic.
Not really.
Okay,
Hmm.
so see now that you said that, now I know you haven't seen the female Ghostbusters movie. I'm not saying that it's the greatest thing. I just think a lot of humans were being hard on it because it didn't have the original cast. I want you to understand. I'm with most people when I would have preferred that they just would have did a traditional Ghostbusters 3, but because we got what we got and I managed to digest it even after being hesitant because of the trailer, I was like, this movie is just silly and I enjoyed it. It did what it was supposed to do. Like they even had the original cast for Ghostbusters in the movie. They were different characters, but I was like, okay, they're at least trying a little bit. But like I said, if nothing else in the movie, those two scenes that I pointed out, or actually, Danny, you could just type it in on YouTube. Put 2016 Ghostbusters and end fight scene where they're killing all the ghosts and shit. That shit was epic. Like I said, aside from that Statue of Liberty scene, even you couldn't even think of an epic scene in Ghostbusters 2. Because I'm like, how can you not like that one scene in the 2016 Ghostbusters where they're killing a bunch of ghosts? Like, I actually wanted to see that scenario with the original cast members. Like, what would happen if they had to fight a bunch of ghosts all at once? Would their little weapons be enough, or would they have to make some new ones? What's going to happen? Now, I will say the villain in the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, he was whack as fuck. He's a joke because the whole movie is silly. I want you to know that. So that villain is trash. But when his whole thing is he wants to create chaos. So he unleashes a bunch of ghosts in the city, and it's not like how you saw in Ghostbusters 1 and 2 where you see a couple flying around and they kind of tackle one case at a time. I'm talking about a full-on army charge, you're about to get your shit wrecked type of scene. You know, something you would
I
kind
don't
of
know if my
equate.
computer can handle all this, but I'm gonna try it. Hold on.
But yeah,
Mike
like
said, "What the hell you doing, Danny?"
but yeah, like I told my boy to watch that one scene, and he was like, "This scene is lit." He's like, "Is the rest of the movie like this?" I was like, "Absolutely not." But that's why I said to me, "Is that scene right there?" I'm like, "That shit was cool."
I didn't hate the movie. You know what I mean? I didn't hate it. Like all the people were complaining because it was a female Ghostbusters and whatever. I saw it. I didn't hate it. I still liked Ghostbusters 2 better, but I understand what you're saying about Ghostbusters 2. The villain in Ghostbusters 2 was absolutely trash with the painting and everything. But it's just for me, the characters and the chemistry that they had, that's why I think it's a better movie.
That's fair, and I have heard that before, but I'm like, like how you said the characters, the chemistry and stuff. That's kind of it's only just slightly, and I do mean slightly unfair because we got that in the first movie. So by default, we're already programmed, if you will, to like those characters over anything new that comes,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Until the whoever's new proves themselves to be just as good in a different way or better, right? So these
Hmm.
female characters were not as good, nor were they better, but for that little plot, all I'm saying is that I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I was smiling. I was laughing. And the character, you remember the character Holtzman, Jason, the one that was creating the weapons and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's my favorite character in that whole movie. Like Holtzman is awesome. Like Holtzman is
Hmm.
out of all those females, Holtzman is the only one where I would snatch her out of that movie and put her with the original Ghostbusters cast. She would help them out so much in terms of creating better weapons.
Understandable. I like Melissa McCarthy though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Same,
like
same.
her. I
Yeah,
think she's funny.
yeah, yeah. Me to be fair, I did appreciate the other characters, but like Holtzman
Hmm.
was the character that I latched onto right away. I like her personality. She kind of a
Hmm.
little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs,
Hmm.
but she got that
Hmm.
genius mentality thing going on, and she just seemed to be like, man, I could chill with Holtzman. Not only would I like her, but she would be able to teach me all kinds of shit that I never even dreamed of, you know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, and then going to the newer Ghostbusters film, I saw the trailer for that. Didn't like it at all. It's actually worse than my reaction for the Ghostbusters 2016 film. Now, some humans might be like, how is that even possible? I will tell you how it's possible. Because when I watched that trailer, nothing about it told me that it was Ghostbusters except for, okay, he's connected to this person. And then you had a bunch of kids driving around in the vehicle randomly and they were shooting the weapons. And I'm like, this looks like a bunch of kids made a
Hmm.
fan film on
Hmm.
YouTube and they're like Ghostbusters, which would be great. If this were a fan
Hmm.
film from the looks of it, it'd be the greatest thing ever. But from a cinematic movie perspective, I just thought that when you're trying to bring back the whole, this is a continuation of the OG2, and you start with that, like it just seemed to be really misplaced in my opinion, just from the scenes that
Oh,
I've seen.
is this what you want?
Uh,
Something more familiar?
Is this it?
Well, you know what? I don't have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, they're about to break into the fight now. So it should be about 5 minutes long.
Nope.
So yeah, Chris Hemsworth's character at this point. You remember the secretary in the original Ghostbusters films?
yes.
Chris Hemsworth is that
I,
character, but he's stupid
hmm
as hell. Like he's just the dumbest guy you will ever see in your life. Like, and at this point, he has been possessed by a ghost. So yeah,
He was actually good in the movie too.
I thought he was fine for the role, but it's just
Mhm.
like his character was he was too
Silly.
silly. Like
Yeah,
I
no.
felt like Chris Hemsworth had a lot of fun because he likes to play a lot of silly ass characters. So
Mhm.
that was right up his
Mhm.
alley.
Yeah.
And I feel like he only has like one good movie outside of Thor, and that's Rush. But all of his other stuff is just very mediocre or really,
Mhm.
really inherently silly, like this or
Mhm.
Men in Black Trash International.
Yeah. Garbage. Garbage. I could barely finish that movie, to be honest with you.
See that? We at least we finished Ghostbusters, man. Like I did finish Men in Black International because I was in the theater, but man, that was a waste of my time completely.
Mhm.
I didn't enjoy
Mhm.
that at all, not even a little bit.
Yeah, neither did I. Neither did I. I don't remember there being anything funny in there that had me like, okay, I don't. I didn't
Nothing.
think it was good. Yeah, I agree with you.
The only character that I liked by default was Liam Neeson's character, but that's because he's Liam Neeson. Like it's hard to
Mhm.
hate him. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
in terms of any
Mhm.
role that he's playing. So
He's in. Yeah, absolutely.
if the movie would have been centered around him, we would have had a good movie.
Mhm.
I don't think my computer can handle all that. But
Okay.
I'll watch that. But I believe
Yeah,
what you
just
said on that, bro.
yeah.
I think that some movies, if you take, because I think some people like last night yesterday we were talking about it, don't care for the first 2 hours of Endgame, which I think the whole movie was a masterpiece. I enjoy all of I can watch all of them. Some people is gonna fast forward to the end to watch that particular part. I mean, I'm doing that for years now. Um, I fast forward through all of the Last Dragon to the last fight scene. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the other part of that stuff. And most
The
of my
last,
Bruce, yeah, and
the
most of my
last
Bruce,
dragon.
yeah, I was going to see
Oh, okay,
the
but
last 10 minutes.
but to be real though, when you I mean, not to say that this is always definite, but at the same time, when you have a movie that you really enjoy, then
Hmm.
you gonna sit down and watch it, and you're not gonna skip over anything,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
there's
But
some you gonna be like, only reason I
yeah,
want to watch this is that fight scene was hell. That's just
right.
like most of Bruce Lee movies. I watch them, but I can't remember which one it was. But the fight scene between him and Chuck Norris, man, I
That
fast
was
Mhm.
forward
the
straight to
that
that.
was that was the way that was the way of the dragon. And since you brought that up, I gotta say that I love all of Bruce Lee's movies. That whether that be the Big Boss, aka Fist of Fury, or Fist of Fury, aka Chinese Connection, or The Way of the Dragon, aka Return of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, or Game of Death. Like all those, I can just watch the whole thing
Yeah,
because Bruce Lee's movies at that time were just they were so far ahead of its time, like in terms of how he conducted his storytelling when he became a writer, and then like how he wanted them to do the fight scenes and how he choreographed the majority of the fight scenes. Is just the way that he was fighting and moving was not how they were fighting and moving back then in any sort of movie, whether that be China or any American film. They just didn't do that. They were doing a lot of the we're gonna do crouching tiger, hidden dragon type stuff, which is fine,
yeah.
but that's not realistic. Bruce Lee was
No.
like, no, when these people see me, they're gonna be
It's
like,
gonna be
damn, I want to take martial arts.
yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's kind of like the Ip Man or IP Man. I love that series. I hate it when the last one where he died, but Donnie Yen is he. I think he was born for that role because I mean I can watch all four of them all over and over and over again without missing a beat or a step or anything. That's
Well,
just
I'll say this. I don't know if he was born for the role, but I can tell you he was prepared for it because he was trained by Master Yip Man's son.
well, he was hell with it. When he went up against other masters, it was like a professional fight playing against a professional boxer boxed against a collegiate boxer. They're supposed to be masters on the same level, but he was just that much far above them, especially that fight when he fought the heavy set master on the table.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
that
yeah.
ain't made
Sammo
no
Mhm.
Hung's character,
that
like
ain't
Mhm.
made no damn sense.
well, it made. I'll tell you why it made sense from experience. Like just because somebody is the same rank or a little higher or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean they're the same because you have exceptional martial artists for a reason. Like there's a difference between this person is good and this person can do stuff that this person wishes that they can do. And no matter how hard they train, they will never be as good as that person. It's
Yeah,
never going to happen. Like
I'm
like
not.
I
I'm
was
not. I'm not disputing that part. I'm talking about they were all masters in different forms or different styles, whatever. But it just
yeah.
seemed like his style was that's just so much more superior because when he fought the boxer, man, the boxer gave well they took away his feet, but that boxer gave him hell because he was skilled in boxing. Also, when he fought what's the last one? What's the guy name? The
Talking
guy that
about
played
well,
got
number 3 he
Scott
fought Mike
Atkins.
Tyson, and
I'm
then
not talking
number
about
3
Mike Tyson. I'm talking about
yeah,
Scott Atkins.
he was in the last
Now,
one. Yeah.
now Scott Atkins was hell until that sucker got focused, and then he just fucked him up at the end. And then when he fought that the other guy, the Japanese guy, those guys are good at first, but it seems like when he gets hit one too many times or he starts focusing, man, that
Well,
that suck on a different level, boy.
well, I have to
A
say
different
this.
level.
There is no such thing as a superior fighting style. There is only a superior fighter. So it did like
Mhm.
when it comes to even Bruce Lee has said that he came up with his own fighting philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, which I've been trained in. Like all like what it comes down to is each style is designed to combat another style. Whatever style you have your strengths in, you also have your weaknesses. This person can get the best of you because they can do this and you can't. And if you're a person that knows Jeet Kune Do or Savat or something like anything where you are incorporating a lot of combative techniques, you can get the best of someone that maybe only knows one, but that's not a guarantee because it could be that, say, you know, 8 fighting styles and this person only knows one. But if this person is great at doing that one fighting style, it may end up trumping the 8 that you know because maybe you're not
Mhm.
as good at all 8 as that person is at that one that they know
Mhm.
how to do. So that's why you get stuff like when UFC first started, which I was watching when I was a kid. I even have the first one in my collection. You had style against style. The karate guy against the wrestling guy against the boxing guy against the jiu-jitsu guy. And that was all done for the sake of seeing who is the superior fighter. Well, there is none. Like they had one of the best fighters of all time in Horace Gracie, and he beat everybody at UFC 1. All those
Mhm.
people were much bigger than him. They all had better striking techniques. He took them down to the ground and fucked their limbs up with Gracie Jiu Jitsu. Nobody knew what that shit was back then. But after that, everybody was taking that shit. Dojos was
Mhm.
opening everywhere. You
Mhm.
drive around, there's so much jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and Gracie jiu-jitsu. You can thank the Gracie family for that shit. Their whole family, because they like if you go online and you put Gracie Gracie jiu-jitsu family, their family is massive, and there's a whole bunch of them that have been in MMA, and a whole bunch of them that have kicked ass throughout the entire MMA history. So
Yeah.
if you've been trained by one of the Gracies, like you gonna give anybody hell, even someone like me, to where I do mostly striking. They can do stuff to people like me because that's
Mhm.
what they're trained to do. So the other person would have probably said, no, he's superior because of it. Okay, so what if I were to show you a bunch of stuff to prove that wrong? So you never know until the people fight. Is how that's going to happen. It can't be based on size or anything because they do have weight classes now, but that's because it's a sport, and you're not going to put
Mhm.
a 120-pound guy against
Against
Cain
200.
Velasquez or
Mhm.
Brock Lesnar that are in the heavyweight. You can't do that because you can have an example where the smaller guy can win, But if the bigger guy wins, it's because he has a lot of power. Because he's
Mhm.
not just a big guy, he's also a big guy that knows some, if not all, of the same techniques that you do. So fighting is really complex, and it's a science, and it's like one of those things where you can have separate discussions on breaking every little detail down, which is why they tell you the monks of the Shaolin Temple, they spend their entire lives training. That you can spend up to 30 years mastering one style, like a crane style or a tiger style of kung fu. They can spend that long on one particular area because there's so much to learn all the time. And if you have learned everything you need to know, now you can improve upon what you know, which will make you even better. Like it's being a martial artist is a lifestyle for a reason.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Um, next topic. Have either one of you seen I Am Dolomite? My name is Dolomite.
Yeah.
Eddie
Yeah, I
Murphy.
seen it.
You seen it, Terrence?
Yes.
What did you think?
Oh man. You know, like that phrase when they say, "Man, he's back" or "She's back." That's Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
Eddie
that
Murphy.
movie. I
He.
remember. I remember seeing the original, and I thought he killed Rudy Ray Moore, and in this
Mhm.
Mhm.
movie, I wish he was alive to see it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I saw that one too, and it was like what I did was when I heard about that was coming out. I'm like, I know they, that Rudy Ray Williams, he did like a movie that they're basing it off of. So I hadn't seen that. So I watched that one first, and then I watched the Eddie Murphy interpretation of that. And I was like, uh yeah, man, if he were alive to see this,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know,
yeah,
this
it's
this
Mhm.
very
is
That
very funny. I watched it 2 or 3 times.
that
I
original Dolomite was my name was on rotation in my house as a kid all the time, man. We used
that
to
and the
laugh.
devil's son-in-law. Oh my god, used to watch that all the time.
Mhm.
The Human Tornado. I think I've seen everything Rudy Ray Moore ever done.
Mhm.
yeah, he
Um,
was an interesting dude.
yeah, and that's gonna bring me to this one. Next topic. Coming to America 2. Supposed to be coming out on August the 7th. I am ready, way ready to see this movie. Um, a recent interview with Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan is going to be in it, and he's going to be Eddie Murphy's uncle. And Eddie Murphy, I guess, is supposedly have a son he didn't know about named Keem. And I think, based on what I read, King Jaffe Joffer or whatever, played by James Earl Jones, is supposed to be on his deathbed, and his wish is for Eddie Murphy to go back to America and bring his son back here to be a royal prince because Eddie Murphy is about to become king. So, based on that little synopsis I read about it, I'm ready to see it. I think John Amos has made comments about it. Guy used to play
Mhm.
James Evans. He was I can't think of the girl's name, but I think they're trying to get her back too. She should be the queen. Arsenio Hall is going to be back. So unless this crisis we're in now pushes that back, August the 7th is the release date. So what do y'all think about that? Are you ready to see it? Or are you really don't give a damn? Or
Uh, well, the first one I thought was cool. I don't think that there should be a sequel, and let alone coming this late. Because timing is everything. In terms of the success of Bad Boys for Life, which was fucking amazing, by the way, like it's definitely on the level of the first one.
Mhm.
Will Smith was talking about that for years to keep people interested, and then because of his conflicting schedules with all the movies that he was doing, and all the stuff he was doing with all of his very talented children, that kind of messed things up and got in the way. But every so often, I feel like it was like almost every 6 months, he was like, Bad Boys 3 is coming. And then
Mhm.
eventually he was
Mhm.
like, Bad Boys for Life. Okay, now it has a title. So
Mhm.
we were kind of always thinking about like, damn, it's been like Bad Boys 2 came out when I was in high school, and I was like barely 30 or whatever when I finally saw it. So I'm like, it's been in my mind, like, when is this gonna come out? Okay, it's never gonna come out. With Coming to America 2, nobody was really thinking about Coming to America because it's so old. And it was like when they announced that they were doing Coming to America 2, it was just like, is that really happening? It was like a thing where people were doubting that it would happen because it just came out of nowhere and they're just like, same opinion as me. Like, why did you wait so long? Like, just because certain movies can come out of nowhere and do well doesn't mean it's going to work that way for everything. Like, timing is everything, or at least it is most of the time. Like, that's why when they do sequels, they try to get their when they do movies, they try to get their sequels out within 2 to 3 years after the first one, because you want to have it still fresh in people's mind,
Mm-hmm.
and they still will be ready to eat while they're hungry. Otherwise, they're going to get their fill somewhere else. So I think that it really just depends, I guess, on the trailer. Like, if it grabs people, a lot of people that are younger than us, they may not know what that is. They may
Mm-hmm.
only have heard of it, and they probably haven't seen the first one. So they might be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I need to watch the first one first, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just go see the second one. So I feel like the trailer is really going to depend on how many people go right away, aside from, you know, who knows how many people that have seen the first one are going to just go see it because it's a sequel, because you will have a mixed bag. You will have the people that go, eh, I don't, I,
I
I don't, I don't
I
think
agree
so.
with you on that in certain movies, but I think Eddie Murphy still got enough star power that it's going to pull people, and Eddie, I think young people still know who Eddie Murphy is too.
You think
I,
so?
I do.
Because if I pull out the facts, like if you look at Eddie Murphy's recent movies, they haven't done well, not a single one.
they were bad movies, though.
And they were, but we're talking about star power because you can't know a movie is bad until you watch it, correct? So these
Yes and
people,
no.
well, I mean, because trailers can be deceiving. You can get a
Absolutely.
really bad
Absolutely.
trailer to a good movie and vice versa, because it really
Absolutely.
depends on the talent of the editing and the marketing
Hmm.
department, because their job is to get you in the theater. How you feel about the movie is a whole other thing. But if they
Hmm.
can get you to the theater, they have succeeded. But where if
Hmm.
they, people go and they don't like it, then that's when they start kind of biting their nails. Like, damn, okay, we got people, but they not gonna be hyped for number two because most people didn't like it. But Eddie Murphy's, in terms of like My Name Is Dolomite, that's a Netflix movie. A certain
Hmm.
number of people saw it, and the majority of people that did see it, they liked it. But it's a movie that was talked about when it came out and it died quickly thereafter. And it's like people, they like Eddie Murphy. They've seen a lot, if not all of his films, or they're at least a fan of something that he's done. Probably Donkey from Shrek for certain people. But I mean, he has a lot of good work, but it's just his recent track record. His name is not enough to bring people in. It would have to be something specific. There are only a couple of people that actually have star power, because that's like a thing that's pretty much dead. There are some exceptions,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
Dwayne Johnson is a person where if you put him in something, your movie is going to make more than it would have if he were not in there. It's the same thing with Kevin Hart. But aside from those two, that's not really the case. Look at Chris Hemsworth. He's been in all kinds of movies. They ain't made shit.
Yeah, Denzel
Nothing.
Hmm.
Washington got star power. Whatever you put him in, people gonna go watch that.
That's true. This is
Hmm.
the very, very tiny. The Robert Downey Jr. Like, I mean, sure you got Sherlock Holmes, but he's done a lot of movies outside of Iron Man that have flopped 10,000 times over. It's
Hmm.
not, his name is not enough. It has to be something specific, because if that were the case, then the facts would dictate that. The whole, oh, he's in there, it's going to make money. No, 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 not necessarily. That doesn't mean you should count him out, but that also doesn't mean you should make it seem like a guarantee. So I feel like Eddie Murphy falls into the whole people love him, but
I think what
what
I
does he
think
have to do to get people to go to the theater?
I,
Is the
I
thing.
think what would help Eddie Murphy is people our age or older. Oh man, I remember that. and then your children, who may be young adults. I'm saying 21 on down, you probably wasting your breath. But 22 on up, late 30s, because I mean, I got a child. My oldest child is 32. So if I go there and say, man, um, Ash, this movie's pretty good. Eddie Murphy said, oh, it is. Well, me and my husband go see it. If they do that
Mhm.
word of mouth, a lot of time word of mouth will help pour advertising. There've been plenty of movies where I'd be like, I ain't gonna see that. But if my daughter or if one of y'all, somebody who parent I trust, man, you might want to go check this out. It's gonna be all right. Then I
Well,
go. And then a lot of
well,
time word of mouth will help.
word of mouth is finicky. Sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like one of the best examples of something that should have done better is that Dread movie with Carl Urban. A lot of people didn't see that in the theater, but a lot of people watched it after the fact because of word of mouth. It was just like it was one of those things where I'm like, I've never seen too many movies to where they deserve a sequel more than Dread. Like this shit is great. Like this is like one of those where I see a bunch of other trash movies making all kinds of money, and Dread didn't make shit. It's very irritating to me because people they saw and they was like, I don't know if that's gonna be any good. I ain't gonna check it out. But then people like, did you see Dread? No, I didn't check it out. Hey, it's go buy it or rent it, and the sales at the time for the Blu-rays and the DVDs of Dread were through the fucking roof. To where
The
the
only
studio was actually considering making a sequel. They decided not to, but Carl Urban was pushing for that for several years before he stopped because the momentum was strong
see
because of word of mouth.
what I think hurt Dread is back then Sylvester Stallone was kind of like in his peak. It is hard to take an iconic character that he plays and somebody else. That ain't gonna be good. I'm not saying it wasn't because I'm a fan of Dread. I like Dread. It's two Dread, Judge Dread, and Dread were two totally different movies, so to speak.
Mhm.
But Dread, both of them are awesome in their own on their own. There are certain things about Dread I like, certain things about Judge Dredd I like, certain things about Dredd I didn't like, and same can be said for Dredd. But I think what really hurt Dredd, probably movie wise, for as sales of people going out and putting butts in the seat, is back then Sylvester Stallone was like, "I am the Lord," all this kind of stuff. Everybody
What
loved that and like
that
that. Then somebody else coming trying to play the same part, you'd be like, kind of like I
that's
give you a perfect example. Conan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then Jason Momoa came behind. Jason Momoa, I saw the movie. I didn't think it stunk up. It was way better than Red Sonja, but it just didn't have the same steam that
oh,
Arnold Schwarzenegger had.
okay. Judge Dredd number one was not a successful film. That was
That's it.
actually, yeah, Judge Dredd was not a successful film, and
Yeah.
that was one of his movies where people watched it way after the fact, and it built up popularity over time because it's Stallone. Just like the Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't make shit when it came out, but now
Mhm.
everybody and their grandmother talks about certain scenes in the movie and how it's cool that
Mhm.
fictional characters can come out in the real world. So Judge Dredd as an IP has never been popular outside of its comic books. And even with its comic books, the fans are a very select group. That is a very risky property to bring to life. So the nature of Dredd itself was working against Dredd. It's very hard to get people to go support Dredd. It was the same with the first one, and then it showed it again and repeated itself with Dredd.
I
So even
agree,
if you would have had Stallone in there, it would have gave it a little bit more boost because of
but
Stallone
not
being who
much.
he is, but not much because it's still
Mhm.
Dredd. Like every
Mhm.
single comic book movie, for the most part, unless they were Batman or Superman, they had to prove to people that it was good. That's what the whole entire MCU is actually. You have to prove to people why
But
they
didn't
should see the characters.
but didn't Judge Dredd made like double what Dredd did?
Yeah, Judge Dredd.
I think so, but it was still
Yeah,
far below expectations. It was not a successful film.
Judge Dredd made like
and
I think 115 million. I believe Dredd made like 42.
right,
Yes,
but you
but
gotta
see,
understand. Sylvester Stallone had a lot to do with that too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The reason why it made
That's
that
my
much money
point.
is 'cause he
As
was
I said, that's why I didn't do well, even though it may have been better to you. If I understand both of you correctly, y'all like Dredd better than Judge Dredd, correct?
Way better.
yes.
But
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I said it didn't do it successful is because it's hard. Stallone in that same character was a hard act to follow because of his popularity. Now, if it's acting skill, because Urban is a much better actor, but at that time, Stallone was fire.
Well, yeah, but
That's
but
what
that's
I'm
not a
making.
tough. But it's not a tough act to follow when the movie itself was not successful.
Garbage.
It was not
Right.
successful. Like
Mhm.
when you talk to people about Stallone's best performances, no one is going to mention Judge Dredd. They will talk about Rocky and Rambo and Cobra and everything else before they mention Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is an afterthought, and it became more of a kind of like a meme thing. I am the law. Like, oh, that's cool, but nobody watched that movie. Like, Judge Dredd is not a bankable character. Like Carl Urban was talking about how it doesn't matter who plays that character. It was hard to convince any studio to make a Judge Dredd movie with Stallone or otherwise. They didn't want to touch it because they weren't sure about it. There's not, like I said, it's not like a huge fan base like what you would get with other comic book characters. Like even Iron Man, it had more fans than like something like a damn Judge Dredd. But even to the masses, though, it's like, what is Iron Man? You're gonna have to prove to people that that character is worth watching, which is why the entire Phase 1 of the MCU had to be perfect. You could not make a single mistake. You can only make mistakes after the first Avengers movie because at least at that point you have people's trust and they go, maybe the next one will be good. Maybe the next one is good. As long as you don't mess up like 4 or 5 times in a
This
row.
show messed up Thor 2, Iron Man 3. What else?
They did.
I think they messed up the first Thor. I didn't like the first Thor either.
First Thor was all right.
I thought the first Thor was fire. Like I like the fact that number one, it was centered around Loki and Thor. They had the Frost Giants. I'm like, that is dope. That is far better than fucking Malekith and Thor: The Dark World. That was trash.
The only thing I like on Thor: The Dark World was when that guy took that thing to make him that beast, whatever. Now, that sucker was hell. He was indestructible. But other than that,
yeah, that moment the moment when the henchman is better than the actual villain, that's a fail in itself. I'm like, Malekith got his ass beat by Thor's mom. By Thor's mom.
You guys are gonna kick me off the stream because I like Thor 2 better than the first one.
What?
I like that. I like
Jason,
I like Darkwood better.
Man, Jason, that is, I don't know if you ever gonna tell me a bigger fail than that, brother. Like, damn, I got you, Jason. Like, I understand, but man,
I don't understand. I don't understand that. Man. Ain't no way.
Okay.
Ain't no way.
But here's the thing, though. There are a lot of reasonable fails in the MCU, but the difference being is that the masses don't know or don't care about the stuff that we do. Those movies still made money, and in the eyes of most, which are the masses, all of the MCU movies are good. They just have them ranked differently. So you don't have a failure or, damn, what kind of Judge Dredd shit is this? Like, they don't have that, you know? So it's just really amongst us, we're like, oh, so you going, so that's his partner? No, you know, that kind of stuff.
I can tell you this, and I know Terrence probably definitely ain't going to agree, and I'm sorry, but I damn sure rather watch Captain Marvel than Thor 2, Iron Man 3. I mean,
actually, I would too.
It wasn't all that bad.
Okay, here's the thing.
I would too.
Captain Marvel is not so much bad as it is mediocre. Nothing happens in the movie. It is the most lackluster movie in that entire universe.
Well, it did get the answer. Everybody was trying to figure out what happened to his eye, so we found that out.
That shit was stupid. That was
the damn
Flerken was like, and then he was like, "Oh, my eye!" It was the most weakest shit I've seen in the MCU. Yeah, Nick Fury losing his eye in the comics is supposed to be an epic, serious moment, but like everything else in that movie, it's a fucking joke. And the MCU normally makes a lot of silly ass jokes in their movies, but that one was one of the silliest ones. I'm like, what did you do? Her whole entire movie was nothing but, oh man, I wish I could fit in. Oh
Well,
man, I ain't got no memories.
I think they just set that up because they knew they were going to use her in Endgame to kind of save their day a little bit at the end. That's the only reason they made that movie.
I get why they did it, but they also pissed on the MCU continuity because the entire first two phases were nothing but Nick Fury explaining in full detail as to why he came up with the Avengers. Carol Danvers was never mentioned. That was a shoehorned retcon thing that they did in her movie. There's a reason why a lot of people were pissed off by that.
And then he sees the plane and says Avengers, and he's like, "Oh, Avengers!" I'm like, "Really?
Yeah,
That's
that
how you
was
got the Avengers name?"
yeah, that was some corny ass shit. I'm like, could you
What do you have
any
on the?
more
He
corny?
had something else on the fold at first.
Yeah, he did. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
He had something on the letter, and then he
Erased it and then
erased
put
it and
Avengers.
typed
there.
Avengers.
Yeah, like so. As much as I love Kevin Feige, I'm like, man, I'm not stupid. Like I can point this shit out to you in full detail. You would have to talk to me. Yeah,
because they. Like, I don't mean to cut you off, but didn't they had that was like Captain America, the first Avenger?
thank you, Danny. You can't really do it, but high five. Like I don't know how many times I've said that. You got certain humans like, maybe you're mistaken. Maybe you didn't see. I'm like, bitch, I'm not fucking mistaken. I will send you the damn pictures right now. You know, but yeah, so it's like as a movie, you know, it's all right. Like I don't like hate it. It's just I have to use the word disappointing because look, I'm gonna break this down fast. I don't even need a lot of time. I've done this too many times. Look, the movie itself, I need to fit in. I don't have my memory. She meets up with Nick Fury. He does nothing the whole movie. Coulson does nothing the whole movie. He ain't even there that long. Ronan the Accuser, one of the coolest cosmic characters that I've seen that has beat the shit out of all of the Avengers, including Thor in the comics, did nothing in the movie. And then you get the Skrulls, who are supposed to be war-mongering, sinister aliens. They did nothing in the movie. In fact, they were painted almost like immigrants that were just trying to fit into a certain country and environment. And they thought I didn't pick up on those social undertones that they were doing. Okay, that's not how the character is supposed to be.
I wonder why Kevin Feige made him good. I still ain't figuring that out yet.
Say that again.
I'm trying to figure out why Kevin Feige made the Skrulls good. I'm still not figuring out. I mean, he totally flipped the script on that. I don't see how he can retcon and get that back like it used to be, because now it's like the Skrulls are good and what's other people fighting them?
You talking about the Kree?
The Kree,
yeah.
And now the Kree are evil.
Well, see, that's the thing that's irritating me. I'm like, Secret Wars is supposed to be the Skrulls going from planet to planet, killing people, assuming the identity of the heroes, killing them off. You think they're your friend, but that's really Bobby Totem because he's a Skrull. You don't have that anymore. So now unless they do the other Secret Wars storyline with the Beyonder, they could do that. But for
what's the other thing? It's not Shield. It's the other thing they call it.
Oh, Sword.
Sword.
That's the one up in space.
So I'm thinking that now it appears that the Skrulls are helping Nick Fury develop the sword technology. That's what
exactly.
It looked like. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, like I said, I gotta have patience, and it's like you can make changes, but when it's that, because I'm like, look, you mean to tell me that these warmongering creatures are sitting drinking coffee with Nick Fury like everything is right in the universe? I'm like,
well, at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust Kevin Feige because I do believe he's a student of comic books. I think he got some kind of master plan. I don't know what it is. It may be a big 180. You'd be like, oh, what the hell? They may plant an Easter egg in there that we haven't seen or fully latched onto yet. So I'm just hoping, because the one saving grace could be this time travel thing. maybe in a different timeline, the Skrulls are evil. I don't know.
Oh my God! If he see, that's the shit I'm talking about. It'd be the Mandarin all over again. I'm like, if you guys do that shit one more time, because this is again one of those things where he's gonna, tilt his hat like, see, fans, I had it covered. Like, no, you didn't, lying asshole.
Okay, but
like,
Well,
let me ask
Well,
you
what-
this. Go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what about this? The Skrulls have a leader, right? So what if they end up having a new leader that hates humans and turns the Skrulls all bad?
if they do that, I will think that is also a plan to respond to the people that did not like what they did with the Skrulls.
Yeah,
Because it's
Because-
too, Jason, that's smart, but again, it seems to be nothing more than a response to something else versus it being properly planned out. Like the first phase and the second phase of the MCU, it has planning, right? It all flows together. Some of the more recent stuff, it don't flow that well. I'm
well,
like,
they're gonna
what kind of retcon shit is this? Like,
they're gonna have to retcon or do something, because if you're a Fantastic Four fan, one of their biggest enemies besides Doom is the Skrulls. In particular, the Super Skrull, who has all four of their powers. So they kind of touched based on that on the last Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer. But if they're going to introduce the Skrulls, I don't see how they're going to make them all of a sudden enemies, besties. So they're going to have to do some kind of flipping or retconning, or the only thing that makes sense in my mind is it's going to have to be a different timeline.
it probably will, but that's that cringy ass shit. But again, there's a few more things that I left out. Number one, okay, so the Kree Supreme Intelligence is not the Kree Supreme Intelligence. That was just like a female that Captain Marvel was talking to. So I'm like, you ruined that. That was supposed to be some big shit where you could have made a bunch of epic scenes with the Kree, the blue people, and Ronan. But nope, they didn't do that. And then Monica Rambeau. Whatever. That's fine. Maybe she'll be important later. I see you, Kevin Feige. Whatever. And then Marvel. Marvel was probably one of the biggest fails in the MCU. I'm like, so Marvel is just an old white lady that gets killed in 2 seconds, and we didn't even know that was supposed to be that Marvel until you see a little name tag. She's like, yeah, Marvel. Oh, here, Carol, and then she dies. I'm like, so the guy that trains her in the comic books, the character that's, in my opinion, way more interesting than she is, you completely redid the entire character and killed the character like the character don't even matter. So the movie is full of a bunch of lackluster fails and retcons.
Terrence,
like crazy.
You're my boy. I respect your words. But here you go with that trigonometry shit again, man. What I just discussed today. This is basic math. They can't show all that stuff you're talking about in 2 hours. They can't do it. They can't do all the stuff you're talking about in a 3-hour movie.
Okay, but here's the thing. They can do it. You just have to write it that way. The fact that they wrote in all that other shit shows that they could have wrote it the right way. There's no way that you can sit there.
How you know they didn't write it? How you know they didn't write it and then the editing cut it up and it's on the editing floor?
I'm very sure that they did that. You know why? Because it happens with every movie. There's a lot of every film that gets cut out, which is why sometimes they have director's cut. But what I'm saying is just as easily as you made the Skrulls some fear-mongering bitches, like where they gonna hide in the corner, oh, help us, we need to go to a different country. You could have easily wrote them to show up and be badass and murder people. That can still happen in 2 hours. And also, within that 2 hours, you could have had Ronan show up and beat the shit out of Captain Marvel.
Okay, but how about if he's trying to go a different direction? You can't see it. We don't know. We don't know what Kevin Feige and his team are planning.
That's fair. But I will tell you this: when it comes to stuff that they change, naturally, I can't see a lot of stuff coming. But in terms of all these movies, they're not far stretches from what I thought was going to happen anyway. It's just Captain Marvel is one of the biggest examples, if not the biggest, of how much change is done. Captain Marvel has a whole lot of change to a whole lot of Marvel history, and even pissing on and retconning their own established history. So that's an area where the other MCU movies haven't even come close. If you want to talk about mistakes, I mean, if I were an average person like my mom, I guess I wouldn't care. But since I want to bring up my mom, she didn't even like Captain Marvel. She thinks it's one of the worst MCU movies ever made, and she's a female. She told me that shit was boring. I have never heard her say that about an MCU movie. She was like, she didn't even want to watch that, like, cause her and my brother, at nighttime they're like, oh, we gonna go see Endgame in the morning. I was like, well, you might as well watch Captain Marvel. It's gonna be some glowing bitch that shows up. You need to know who she is. It was like, I saw the trailer. Do I have to watch it? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. If you don't watch this, it makes no fucking difference because you don't learn anything in the movie anyway. You will be just fine watching her show up in Endgame. But if you are a completist, and since you've seen all the other ones, why not watch this one? And then they watched it. They didn't like it. They didn't hate it, but they didn't like it. They were like me, like, where it's like, this is whatever. I mean, for the first female-led MCU movie, and you got an actress that's running her mouth like she's the best thing since sliced bread, she has one of the weaker movies.
That right there, maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know what it is, and there's a saying, "Ignorant is bliss." So I'm gonna stay in my blissful little world and bubble. All this, I see Maz make a comment, politics. When I go to a movie, I ain't looking for politics or somebody trying to be slick out the mouth with this LBGT stuff or this woke stuff. I'm just not looking at that. I don't know whether it's just the way I'm built, but I get on here and see somebody, man, I can't believe Disney got an agenda. The only agenda I'm worrying about is I'm going to be entertained for these next 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the damn movie is. Just all this other stuff, I don't see all that stuff. It's more like conspiracy theory stuff.
Jason, you heard what he just said right now.
Okay.
Both of you heard what I just said. I never once mentioned an agenda. All I did was break down the movie, correct?
No, I'm not saying you. I'm talking.
No, I know you're not, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear if it wasn't. I could go into that, and that would make my slaughter of breaking down the movie even worse. But see, because of all the fail stuff in Captain Marvel, I don't have to do that. It's not necessary.
Okay,
that's just extra stuff.
You did make a comment that she's running her mouth about stuff. So
well, yeah. But I'm talking about, that was when I was talking about my mother and my brother and their experience and how we got into different conversations. Brie Larson does run her mouth. She's stupid. She should never talk again because she says a lot of racist, sexist stuff like crazy, and then she tries to backtrack on it, and she's a liar. She specifically said she didn't have no stunt double. She did all her own stunt work, but then here we go at the MTV Movie Awards. She has not one, but 2 stunt doubles, Danny. I'm like, so it's okay for her to lie now, right? Because if a dude would have did it, we all know what would have happened. We don't need to go into that, but we all know what's up. But she disrespected Chris Hemsworth and Don Cheadle during their interview when Chris Hemsworth tried to compliment her, Danny. He said, dang, you doing all your own stunts, so you like Tom Cruise. And then she was like, excuse me? Like, she made that sound like an insult, Danny. I'm like, first of all, nobody does stunts better than Tom Cruise and Daniel Craig in Hollywood. I don't care what anybody says. They damn near die every time they film a movie. So for you to think that that's bad, that seems to go right back to the whole, this movie is not made for white men kind of stuff, Danny. I'm just saying that. That's where that conversation is.
I saw the video. I heard what you're saying. Like I said, to each his own. I don't try to get too deep in that kind of stuff.
Now, Danny, you know, you my friend. I respect you. Jason, I respect you. I'm only talking about what happened with the conversations that I've had outside of that. You know,
I got you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Cool, bro. Like I said, hey. You say tomato, I'm gonna say tomato, but it's still a damn.
Also, for anybody listening, I want you to know, because I know somebody gonna try to say something stupid and sneak it in there. Yeah, that's right. I was excited for Captain Marvel. So you come at me. I was excited for that damn movie.
And this guy thinks Shazam is awesome. So let's go ahead.
Okay, first of all, Shazam kicks the shit out of.
Shazam is good though.
Shazam kicks the shit out of Captain Marvel. Like shit went down in Shazam's movie. Like that scene with Dr. Savannah is better than everything in Captain Marvel. What happened to Captain Marvel?
I'm glad you brought that up because we was talking about this yesterday. I want to see you, man. See, I got it right here, boy.
I like that show. Danny, I like that show, but it's corny though because they had a certain kind of approach
Yeah.
because they
It let
were
my-
really.
My kid, my grandson watch that. They get a message at the end of the show.
That's what I'm talking about. Like Danny, don't misunderstand me. I love that show. I really do. You put that
I've been
on, I'm
teaching-
down to watch it. But
Hey, this
that
right
whole-
here, I got that too.
hey,
Loved it.
I like that better
Mhm.
than the Shazam show. Period. To
Yeah.
me, that's miles ahead of that Shazam show. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
That
But
Flash
like-
show was classic.
Yeah.
Flash good, but they don't beat this new Flash.
No,
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 it
no, no,
doesn't.
no.
Of course
No,
not.
but for then though, like when it was made and what they did with the writing and
Mhm.
how they worked
Mhm.
around their special effects limitations, I'm like, yo, this is good for right here.
Yeah.
This
I
is
didn't like
damn
his
good.
suit. I didn't like his suit compared to the Flash suit now.
Well,
But-
to be
Well-
to be fair though, that's one of the many designs that they could have gone with because when it comes to the Flash suits, like we all gonna like and hate certain ones, so that's fair.
Mhm.
I get it.
But Danny, when you seen that suit as a kid, you couldn't tell me it wasn't
Oh
cool,
yeah,
man.
the show was
Yeah, that
hot.
shit was
Nah,
fire.
You know what I mean?
Man,
But
I'm like,
but
man.
man, this shit was like this is how that shit ended. Like, okay, you got Shazam, and then you got the people. Thank you, Shazam, and then it goes dun, dun, dun. Then he flies in, and it got that low piano music. It's like, look, kid.
Mhm.
It's like, hello, kids.
I'm gonna tell you
As you saw today, bullying is bad.
Yeah,
See, we all feel alone sometimes, but just because you're alone doesn't mean you have to take your pain and frustration out on others. And remember, we can all learn from each other. Okay, till next episode, kids. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, all right, Shazam. Like,
you used to trip me out too, Terrence, when that thing used to call him to see the elders. Oh, elders,
Yeah.
big, strong and wise. Appear before my guys.
see, like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fine, but we can laugh about that shit. But look, those the scenes in the Shazam movie, like when Freddy was talking to Shazam about how he wanted him to show up at school and he turned
Mhm.
into a person that's a bully and he's not really a hero, and he actually was thinking like, to me, those were legitimate scenes and stuff. I'm like, man, Shazam was kind of dark for being as silly as it is, right? You gotta admit that. Like the stuff where the movie opened up, you had a little kid being bashed by his brother and his father. For them to get into a car accident and the father thrown from the vehicle. That's the opening of the movie.
Mhm.
And then the boy being told
Yeah.
by a wizard that he is unworthy. So the first 5 minutes of the movie was a boy being bashed and told that he basically was a pile of shit. That's the beginning. And then you break off into the rest of the movie. While silly again, you have a man come in there. He kills his brother. He tosses him out of a window. And then he kills everybody in that boardroom. He tells his father, like he basically scares the holy hell out of his father, gets his father to piss his pants, beg for mercy, offer up the company and the money, only to kill him because he wanted to teach him a lesson. So it's like you have that, and then the rest of the movie, you have a man rolling around with the 7 deadly sins that's trying to track this dude down and take his power so he can fuck up the world and prove that he's not as powerless as his family made him feel when he was a child. So I'm like, that movie has a lot of dark undertones to it and some powerful messages for people that feel like they're in weaker positions.
Yeah, I'm with
Like,
you. I think it was a good movie, man. I liked it. Like I didn't hate the movie. When they all came Shazams, I was like, yes. You know what I mean?
That movie is rare in its way that, again, while silly, for you to have something so silly to have that kind of intelligent writing to it is really hard to mix. It really is. You got to really balance that out. Because I saw some parents, Danny. There was a couple parents that took their kids out of that movie. Like there was one that took their kids out with the beginning when the dad got thrown out of the window. I heard one of them say, "Oh my God, Danny," and that you think, "Oh, okay, they just going to get popcorn." Never came back, Danny. The second time that happened was when Dr. Savannah with that boardroom scene. They left, think they're getting popcorn, never came back, Danny. Both sets had kids with them, so they probably were thinking, what the hell? I thought this was gonna be a silly, fun family movie. Look at what kind of shit is in there. So certain people were alarmed by how deep they went into that storytelling, and that's hard to pull that off.
I hear you.
Shit,
I like it.
Zachary Levi is a likable dude, though. It's like, what would you do if you had powers like that? Because I'll tell you what, if I were a kid and I got those powers, I'd have been acting just like that. I'm invisible. I'm invisible. I'd have been like lightning with my hands. Like I'd have been doing all that shit. I'd have been losing my damn mind.
It would have been trying to get beer and stuff like that for real.
All that
I'd have been
shit,
doing
and
that too.
yeah, all that shit, and it'd be nasty as hell. You go back in and get some hot Cheetos and some Dr. Pepper.
You know what I mean? I would have done that too, for sure.
And also, it was realistic how when he got confronted by Dr. Savannah, he didn't know what to do. He went from joking to I'm scared. Hey, I'm just a kid. Leave me alone. Hey, please. It was very real. Like for him just to come out and go, okay, Dr. Savannah, I could just take on anything because I'm Shazam. I'm like, how would he get like that fast? That would be so
right.
That would have ruined the movie because then you would have ended on the Captain Marvel territory. If there's nothing that can stop you, or I'm not afraid of you dying in the movie, you've already failed to give me a good superhero. Because a superhero is only as good as their villain. Vice versa.
Absolutely.
Who did Captain Marvel fight in her movie? Nobody. Because everybody she just wrecked through all the ships. They captured her for 2 seconds. She got out. She beat up all the Skrulls. They couldn't fight. And then the guy that trained her, she beat him in one move. Just one move. That's not even a joke. That literally happened. And she sent him away like a little child. Go back to your parents. You're in timeout. That was the whole movie.
But to be fair to her, didn't she have the power of one of the Infinity Stones? So that kind of puts you on a different power level.
Okay. Because you said that, I'll say this. Now, when Kevin Feige said that Captain Marvel was their strongest character, I call bullshit on that. Not only from a comic standpoint, I'm like Thor and Hulk would walk her ass up and down, walk her ass dry, if you will. She's laughable comparison to other Avengers characters. Anyway, in the context of the MCU, even with her having an Infinity Stone, peep this out. I'll pull out a direct scene. Infinity War, when Thor came in with Stormbreaker, right? Thanos had a fully assembled gauntlet, and he shot a beam at Thor using the full power of all the stones. Thor was able to get through that and then hit Thanos in the chest with Stormbreaker, right?
I think Stormbreaker's on a different level, though, right? It's like elemental, just like the stones.
No. Stormbreaker is not any more different than Mjolnir. That like I'm talking about it's the user, it's the power of Thor, right? So Thor got through a beam housed by all the Infinity Stones. And now here's the thing, like the whole how come he didn't go for the head. Now Thanos knew that he wasn't going to go for the head because when you have all the stones, you can see into the future. He would have moved out of the way. There's a reason why he didn't do that. He stood there to let Thor know that he made a mistake because he knew that would fuck with him. That's what Thanos does. He has countless, hundreds and hundreds of years of battle experience. That's what he does, right? So you go back to Captain Marvel. When Thanos used the Power Stone, just one stone, he punched her out of the whole movie. She didn't even show up again until Tony's funeral. So Captain Marvel, she got decked with one stone. Thor was able to handle all of them and go through a beam consisting of all the stones only to attack Thanos. So just by that, for one person that can handle all the stones compared to one that gets punched out of a movie from one, that already shows you who's more powerful. And I've used that in multiple conversations, and most people didn't even know that shit. They didn't realize it until I pointed it out.
I've done a show about it. If you go back and watch that, I believe Odin could have defeated Thanos. The only reason why Thanos did it because when Odin died, he's like, that's the only person, because the Odin force should have been transferred to Thor. And that Odin force is on the same level, or it should make Thor several times showing that he normally already is.
Thor did transfer the power of the Odin force to Thor.
Yeah,
You
but
know
I'm saying
where that
they didn't really emphasize that or let us know. Only
they
only true comic book fans know that when Odin died, Thor should become exponentially stronger.
there is a
Deleted,
deleted
a
scene.
deleted
There is
scene.
a deleted scene where Thor explains the Odin Force to Thor before he gives it to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a full blown scene. They cut it out of the
Mm-hmm.
movie, so in a way you are right, but that was intended to be in the movie, so that way when Thor goes up against Thanos, people were not confused over who is the strongest Avenger, and that's Thor. That was the whole point of that scene. So whoever thought it was a good idea to cut that out should be smacked because that was
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah, that should be.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up, Danny. I wasn't talking so much about you and Jason, but I just mean like, in general, that
Yeah,
is a scene that I bring up.
I've always said that I believe Odin could defeat Thanos without the Infinity Stones. And whenever Odin died, then he said, "Okay, this is my chance, and go ahead and jump on it," because Thor wouldn't have time to fully understand or use his new powers he had.
Well,
Has
that,
always been my has It has always been my argument. But whenever I talk to somebody about it, but no, 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 Thanos. So I
no,
don't even
they
argue with
don't okay, they don't know what they're talking about. I will tell you, what I know. This is not what I think. This is what I know. So in terms of a full powered Odin, you did have Thanos taking on a full power Odin and Galactus. Now, he could have died if he would have continued fighting, but he didn't. He made a strategic move to fight another day. But the thing is not so much that you should focus on that Odin and Galactus attacked Thanos, is you should focus on the fact that they attacked Thanos and he didn't die. He was able to go away. So what that tells you is that Thanos, without the Infinity Gauntlet, can handle a hell of a lot of power before he dies. So in the case of Thor, he doesn't have that experience. Like in the end, when he braided the beard and shit, and he was using Stormbreaker Mjolnir when he became Rune King Thor, like he was probably at, I don't know, 20-30% of his power. If he would have been like, say, 50 or a little bit higher, he probably would have laid some hands on Thanos. I'm talking about like where Thanos is on the ground bleeding, and then maybe Thanos, you get to the scene where he's about to do the snap, like you get that. So the whole, I wish the fights would have lasted longer. That's all dependent on how strong those characters are at that moment in time. The scene where Scarlet Witch, when she had him in the air, wasn't gonna kill no Thanos. People were being ridiculous. That scene was nothing more than I'm doing the boxing and you hit me with a right hook. And I'm like, damn, what the fuck? And then I'm all up in the air, suspended and stuff. And it's hard for me to get out of that. It's more irritating than it is damaging. And which is why he made the strategic move to have them shoot at her. Because he couldn't really figure out a way to get down at the time. So it was a problem. Because the longer he stays up there, the longer the higher the chance of the Avengers now, when he gets down to the ground, they're now surrounding him, making it more difficult. So again, that's where that fight experience comes in. For him to make a quick decision like that, like, what the hell, I can get out of this easily. That makes all the difference, which is why the Russo brothers made it a point in Infinity War and in Endgame to show how intelligent Thanos was, how much of a strategist he is. So every time you thought that they were going to get the one up, the Russo brothers made sure to show you a scenario as to where he already knew how he was going to get out, how quick he is to respond to the situations that he's in.
Okay.
Thanos was always one step ahead of them, anyways, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And if he wasn't, but and again, there were some times where he wasn't, like in the whole, the thing is, the difference between Thanos and
He
most
kind of
characters is that he didn't have the old shit moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not like that.
he stumbled on when them two, I can't think of the girl name, when they kind of locked each other and kind of could feed off each other thoughts and stuff. He kind of stumbled onto that, but then once he stumbled on it and
Nebula.
realized what it was, then he made a quick adjustment and switched them out. So it's just like what Terrence said. He's always a step or two ahead, or he always he's quick on his feet, very quick on his feet.
And that's who you need. You need people like Leonidas, Themistocles, Thanos. You need people like that because they know Thanos knows what it's like to deal with pressure. Somebody's like, Terrence, what does that mean? Well, it means that throughout the course of Marvel history, Thanos has dealt with the best of the best. he came from a whole entire race of people that got their shit wrecked, but Thanos is special. But it's like this dude knows about the Celestials. He knows about the Eternals. He knows about all the hack shit that you can think of. And he's probably dealt with most of it on one time or another. He's definitely dealt with hundreds of heroes before at once. So this dude is accustomed to scenarios that people like the Avengers, they can only think about when it happens. Because Thanos, to him, that's just a regular Tuesday. His whole entire destiny is getting the gauntlet, which requires that he has to beat up and kill and lock up a bunch of people just to get to the stones. Not to use them, just to get them.
Yep. That makes sense. Our next topic. This movie, I never heard of it until I was looking up, trying to do some research. I have things to talk about. It's called Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan. He is an ex-Navy SEAL turned CIA operative, and I think someone kills one of his family members, and he kind of goes ape shit for revenge. I haven't seen a trailer for this, but I'm hearing that it is. Well, I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan, so I'm assuming based on his work, it's going to be pretty good. I haven't seen the one with him and Jamie Foxx.
Just Mercy.
Just Mercy.
That's one of the
Good
best
movie
films that year. Period.
That was a good movie, man.
It's on demand, so I may catch it tonight or tomorrow.
Danny, watch that ASAP. I'm telling you.
Okay. But I'm ready to see it. Like I said, I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan. I watched Black Panther probably twice already this week, right on the last week and a half. I'm not convinced he's dead at the end. I'm not convinced that Shuri doesn't have some kind of suspended animation that she can keep in some kind of capsule like she did the Winter Soldier and possibly repair him. I don't know. I keep hearing there's going to be rumor of him making a return. I know in the comic books he always comes back. So I'm not sure they're going to kill Killmonger off. Or I'm not sure he's going to stay dead. I'll put it that way.
Okay. If he comes back, that's fine. I won't like that, but that's fine. As long as they use the character in a good way. But here's the thing. He specifically said that he doesn't want to be saved. And we see his body drop, and we didn't see anything happen after that. Now, somebody can say all they want that T'Challa took him to see Shuri and stuff. The Killmonger is not someone that needs to be fixed. The Winter Soldier is someone that needed to be fixed, like his arm was messed up. He had some stuff in his brain. You know what I mean?
I don't mean fix or say. Okay, if you remember the episode where the secret agent guy got shot and said, "No, don't move him," then T'Challa took off one of those beads or whatever and put in his wound just to sustain him until he could get him back to Wakanda. There's if you look back at it, he pulled over Killmonger's body. Who's to say he didn't put one of them beads in there and say, I know you want to die, but nah, you're my cousin. I'm gonna do this.
Well, okay, but that's fair and all, but it's just, to me, that doesn't seem to be realistic in the context of the movie that we got. Like, this dude was gonna go out and murder people.
I know.
And he was very hell bent on doing so, even to the end, to where he was like, nah, you ain't doing nothing. I'd rather die in the damn waters like my ancestors. Like, so if you were to either, put the bead in him and then he regains consciousness and he realizes that he's still alive, there's no reason that his agenda would change. If anything, he's going to be pissed that you took choice away from him, which would create a whole other scenario.
Okay.
I was just about to say that. I was like, let's say they did bring him back. He would be mad. Like, I wanted to die. Now you guys are bringing me back. But then again, I guess that's where they can go with the story if they were to do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if you read the comic books, he's always only many times him and T'Challa's come back from the dead, or supposed dead. I mean,
that's true. And Eric Killmonger's always been a badass, though, in the sense that he's trying to murder people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he was too powerful, too good of a character, too popular of a bad guy to kill off in the first movie. That's one thing I don't like about Marvel. They kill off the bad guys at an alarming rate. I mean, it's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, okay. In terms from like having the character around, it's like, I get people like him and stuff, but it's like for those characters, it doesn't make sense. If they bring them back and they're like, yeah, we could talk to them and and this and that, I will call them the dumbest characters, even though they're geniuses.
Okay,
Like
I hear what you're saying, but Batman does all the time. How many times he fought the Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman, Clayface? I mean, he is for whatever reason, Batman think Arkham is gonna fix him or do whatever he think he's gonna do. They always get out and do something even more crazy.
Well, to be fair though, Batman has said to Alfred and the entire Bat family, the Joker cannot be fixed. He just doesn't want to kill him. So Batman's whole thing is a little bit different by default. Like more often than not, he knows that these people can be helped, but he does have a code to not kill unless, like, he has to be really, really, really pushed. He's actually almost killed the Joker plenty of times.
Yeah, so, let me ask you this. If Batman code is not to kill, which I believe it is, and he tries to exhaust any means necessary, but does he feel remorse or should he feel remorse? Because each time he puts Joker in Arkham and he gets out and Joker kills whoever he kills on his whims or his sprees that he goes on, aren't those deaths ultimately on Batman's hands?
Yeah, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it's like, okay, if he would have killed them like an anti-hero would, you wouldn't have all those deaths. But no, in the sense that the Joker is his own person. Batman cannot control anyone. Superheroes can't control anyone anyway, unless, of course, oh yeah, blah, 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 magic, mind control. But when you allow a person to live their life, they have choices to make. It's up to them to decide if they're going to murder people or not. Batman being a hero, the hero's job is to save people, to give the bad guys a chance to surrender or agree to go into rehab or whatever it is. And they will constantly warn them, if you do the wrong thing, I'm going to have to kill you. If you're trying to blow up the entire planet and shit like that, more than likely it's going to be done after they've given them a bunch of chances anyway. And now they got to die because since they value all life, one life is not more precious than billions of lives, including the lives of their friends and family. So yeah, that's how that works. In the case of T'Challa, in the movie, he's definitely not no Batman, but T'Challa being T'Challa, he's very aggressive in his character. That's how he is in the comics, and he will definitely tackle a problem head on. Logically, it does not make sense to keep alive a man that was literally going to cause a race war, which means that essentially white people naturally they view a lot of us as being threats and stuff. That's just the history. But when you go out with superior, unheard of technology and you start murking them, that's going to be a problem for all black people, including the Wakandans by default, because they're also black. So it wouldn't be within his best interest to either keep Killmonger alive or to bring him back from the dead. There's no positives there, because then it's like, okay, what if he wants to team up with them to fight the Submariner? Who's to say that Eric Killmonger is going to agree to those terms? And even if he does, who's to say that he's not going to up and leave when the opportunity presents himself and then say he teams up with Dr. Doom or some crazy ass shit? I mean, there's so many ways that can go bad that it screams illogical off the bat, no matter if you can come up with a story to have it make sense. It's just not smart, is what I'm saying.
I got you. I agree with what you're saying, but in the real world, inside of the movie world, that makes sense. I'm talking about on our end. If you keep killing all the bad guys, you're gonna eventually run out of bad guys. Is all I'm saying. And if you read the source material, Killmonger is, in my opinion, Black Panther's biggest foe.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I agree with everything that you said, Danny. But see, here's the thing: with the MCU, they're in a position to kill off a bunch of villains as long as they have an ultimate big bad. Their ultimate big bad was Thanos for the last 23 some odd movies, right? Uh-huh. So when they introduce the next one, whether it be a combination of multiple characters, whether it be Kang, Doctor Doom, Galactus,
Super
I think
Scroll,
it's
whoever.
gonna be Doom and Galactus. That's the only two make sense.
Well,
What
well,
would you say?
Kang makes sense from a perspective of,
I don't,
he's
I
not the
don't think
main big bad, but he's a looming threat.
I
Because
agree with.
yeah,
I think in our circles, yes, but I don't think he's gonna be marketable enough. I can see
that's
Doctor Doom. I can see Doctor Doom toys right now in my mind.
okay, but that's not true, and I'll tell you why. It's the
Okay.
MCU. They've brought in so many new characters that are household names. People have never heard of them. They never knew who Groot was, Ronan, not even Thanos. But because the MCU is a trusted brand, they will automatically go see these films by default, no matter who you put in them. It could be
Yeah,
Captain
I
Marvel,
think
right?
they'll go
Yeah.
see him. I'm saying if I see a Kang toy and I see a Doctor Doom toy, and I'm choosing for my grandsons, I think my grandsons is going to gravitate more to the Doctor Doom toy. Is what I'm saying. Just in that
That
aspect.
But
I'm
right,
not.
right.
but if
That
they
that
make
right, yeah.
no, I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, but if they make a Fantastic Four movie and have him in it and he's a badass, then
Yes.
people who have seen him are gonna understand. Okay, this
Uh,
Kang's a badass.
I
You
was
know.
I was gonna say something like that, Jason. I was gonna say a toy's marketability is based off of what's coming out and how much people respond to said character. When it
Hmm.
comes to the villains, they are always mentioned in conjunction to whatever MCU movie anyone is talking about. Even my mom, that knows nothing about nothing, whenever she talks to me about any hero show or movie, she always, and I mean always, brings up the bad guy, whether it be because she likes the bad guy or she's like, this bad guy, I didn't like him, he was kind of boring, but they always get brought up, at least
Hmm.
at the time of when you see them. So Kang is a he needs to be a looming threat. He's not someone that shows up and you just kill him off. He's in the background. That's who he is, and he's pulling strings. The audience will know that Doctor Doom and Galactus are the big bads or whatever, and you make sure that you have story components to express that and not have it be deleted scenes, then you will be fine. Because Reed Richards interacting with his family member Nathaniel Richards, who's Kang, is very important. Like you need to have that, and you should have that. And you don't want to keep doing Doctor Doom. The average person, they've seen him a lot of times, and the MCU is different, but you still need to cool off on that and make sure that when you do him again, just like when they get to Dark Phoenix, that movie was a pile of shit and it flopped that's what it gets for being trash. I don't want the movies to flop, but that's what it gets. People are still fresh. They're like, "Ugh, wasn't that horrible movie that nobody watched? Why is Kevin Feige doing that?" You want them to
Hmm.
be divorced from that, which is why the New Mutants will probably come out and it'll wear off. And then Kevin Feige wants to make sure that when we touch these characters, it ain't got jack shit to do with those. This is our interpretation. Let me show you how it is different. When you do Doctor Doom, you want to make sure that he eclipses all of the other interpretations that anyone will mention in a good way, and that they
good,
would want to see more of him.
Hmm.
good
And
deal.
just to go off of what Donnie was saying about killing off all the bad guys too in the movies, I understand what you're saying, but I do think that they do that. I would like to see, let's say, like in the Thanos movies, they fought Thanos, they fought Loki, they fought Ronan the Accuser, like they do in the comics. In the comics, they don't just fight Thanos, they fight all Thanos minions. That battle would have been more epic than just the regular to
Not,
whatever creatures they were
not,
fighting with
not in the
and
story,
Endgame. You know
not
what I
in the
mean?
storytelling that they were telling. In the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, Thanos is the problem.
It's still
It's
there.
not Loki. It's
Yeah,
not Loki. It's not Loki or any of them. It's just Thanos. It's
we're here.
Thanos. It's Thanos, and then you have Mistress Death, but she's not doing anything. Like Thanos by himself.
In Infinity War, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like in other movies, you can have that, but the way that they told the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, which is 23 some odd movies, they did it properly because Thanos should be the only focus because he murders everybody else. That's how they were supposed to do that. Like in terms of their villains, if you wouldn't have killed them off and they would have been there like how they were in the comics,
they would have gotten wiped out anyway by Thanos' snap. So you would still pretty much, you would still more or less end up in the same situation. The only difference would be that maybe the character would have appeared in that movie, but again, the end result would have still more or less been the same. They still would have had to have dealt with Thanos.
Yeah, I get that. I do. But I think the odds would have been more stacked up if they had other villains that they had to fight too. And I wasn't meaning Infinity War, but like Secret Wars, where they had to go up against all the villains. Something like that, I would like to see like a big epic battle, like just a big epic battle with pure good guys, bad guys just fighting it out, like in one of the Avengers movies. That would be good.
And I agree with that sentiment, and I will tell you this. When it comes time for any sort of, even though they fucked up the Skrulls, when it comes time for them to do any sort of major battles, I guarantee you there will be enough characters there to make it epic, despite all of the ones they killed off. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Kevin Feige, he does know what he's doing, even though he does a lot of shit that I don't care for. It's like I know, like I do trust him in the sense that there will at least be some kind of structure, despite me being distasteful of certain things. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just sort of, when I see certain things, I'm worried about, okay, where is he going with this? But as long as when I get there, I'm cheering, then I can be like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. And then maybe I can connect it to some comic book storylines, or maybe I can't. But I'm pretty sure once he gives us that money shot, that shit's going to be epic. Otherwise, there's going to be riots in the theaters.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Just because they change something doesn't mean it's all bad. As long as you know where you're going and you get to that point, yeah, you can change certain things. I don't have a problem.
But see, Terrence kind of going both ways on that, because earlier he said, let me see if I remember right, you said that when they didn't do certain things, you're like, man, why the hell they didn't do that? I didn't show that. They could have wrote it in, but then. And I said, well, then maybe they go in a different direction. In particular, we were discussing about the Skrulls.
And I still don't like that, though. But that position is still maintained, which is why I specifically said, despite the distastefulness, I can still like it, and there still could be the money shot. There are things in Endgame that I don't like, Danny, that I thoroughly expressed about, but I still like the movie. But my dislikes don't go away. There's still shit that I don't like. That silly time traveling and the characters doing a bunch of shit that they should have known better than doing, and it shows that they're not as smart as they make it out to be. That stuff is still components I don't like. The stuff in Captain Marvel, I still don't like. I have to make sure to explain that. But again, I like Avengers Endgame, but I still have problems with the movie. I have problems with a fair number of MCU movies, or even comic book movies in general. But at least if you can give me some good scenes and entertain me, I'm not going to be completely upset. It'll just be more irritating. Like, why the fuck did you do that shit? Like, you have that.
I got you.
If that makes any sense.
Like for example, the twist in Iron Man 3, right?
Right.
With the Mandarin. If they had made a good movie and had that twist in there, I may be able to say, okay, well, at least the movie was good. I didn't like what they did, but the movie was good.
Man, you like Thor 2.
Man, Thor 2, look, when I watched Thor 2, I was like, okay, like I ain't mad at this, but why is I was like, okay, hold on. So Malekith, right? I'm like, so you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be afraid for Thor, or I'm supposed to be afraid as an audience member at a dude that get beats up by a home dude's mother?
And needed someone else to help him, right? No, I get that. I think my thing with Thor is I liked the Loki and Thor aspect of it, where they were settling their problems, and then they go to get Jane, and you think Loki sets up Thor again, cuts off his hand, and it's all just a dream. I like that part of it,
Yeah, that's right. Thor
and Loki interaction, that's good. That's kind of like Star Trek for Spock and
Kirk.
McCoy and Kirk.
Yeah, that's basic.
I like that, but it's
See, that's basic. So that's why that it goes back to what I was saying about Ghostbusters 2. For me to go, oh man, I love the cast. Okay, did you not like him in the first movie, Terrence? It'd be like that. It's like it goes without saying. If I go from this cast is great to I didn't like the cast in number 2, then somebody should ask me what happened. How did you go from liking them to going I don't like them? What did they do from a writing standpoint that made you change your opinion that much? And then I would explain it to you. But in the case of Thor 2, man, of course we like the dynamic between Thor and Loki, right? But then as you said, Danny, you was like, but then we all started laughing. It's like, but what else do you got, right? Because it's like that movie is only important because of the damn Infinity Stone that's in there. That's it. That's it. Like
the ether.
Yeah, exactly.
But then to just to go and change on that, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one I loved.
Oh, that's
right?
garbage. That's garbage.
Hold on, I'm just saying. I know. I'm just telling you.
Danny is being unfair. Like he gonna be like, man, come on, Danny. Like
the first one I liked, but I hated what they did to Drax in the second one.
I'm
Drax was completely comic relief in the second one, and I did not like that because they totally changed his character from the first.
Jason, do you watch Bat in the Sun?
Which one?
Do you watch Bat in the Sun?
No.
Okay, it's a show that basically it'll have one famous character battling another famous character, and the outcome depends on basically what the fans vote or whatever.
Okay.
On one episode, they got Val Kilmer Batmobile versus Adam West Batmobile. I think that's the first one. Then they got one, I think, Thor versus Superman. I think the Hulk versus Superman. They got Spider-Man versus Darth Maul. It's real good. I like
Nightwing versus Winter Soldier. Like they got a lot of dope.
They got one with Star-Lord versus I can't think of who it was.
I think it was Boba Fett, no?
Yeah. And man, really?
Well, Boba Fett would destroy him.
Man, I think Star-Lord won in that, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, because
Star-Lord won.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Star-Lord is half celestial though. So
that's true.
So but with Drax, look, Drax was funny in the first one. So it's like for me, I didn't think they changed him. All they did was expand upon a certain obvious note. It would be the same thing like how when I mentioned like with Spider-Man Homecoming, when I was talking to Robert about how that's like a billion times better than Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is trash. I don't care what anybody says. So the relationship between Peter and Tony is true in the context of the Civil War storyline, particularly at the beginning. However, Peter does break away from him when he realizes that Tony is a psychotic asshole, and then Tony tries to murder him, and then so on and so on. But in the case of the MCU, they took that relationship and they made it a huge thing, like a lasting thing. So instead of it being brief, they expanded. So what I'm saying is that there's a parallel with Drax, right? Because in the first movie, he was saying some funny ass shit. Like he wasn't trying to be funny, but that's when people are the funniest, when they just say stuff and you start laughing. Exactly. And in the second one, it was more the same, but they gave it more time. They expanded it, and when you do that, you get people like yourself that may not like that. You're like, hey, ease up on it, right? But I'm just saying, Jason, that there's a precedence for it, and I get why they went that direction. Like, I'm one of the individuals that I didn't mind it because I was laughing my ass off, but I do see the other side of the equation, like where you're like, hey, man, why'd you make him that silly? Like, he wasn't that silly. Like, I get what you're saying.
Like, I found it funny. It made me laugh. But I was just like, come on now. But I did find it funny, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's funny.
I know, man. Like that scene where he was talking about he was in the dark and he should be invisible. Yeah. My friends will tell you they stole that shit from me because I did that shit like 10 years ago. I was at a friend's house, Danny and Jason, and it was kind of dark. They were in the living room. It was, pretty big house, 2-story and stuff, big living room, and they were like in the center where the couch is and the TV, and then you got the kitchen over there to the right-hand side. And I was like kind of by the front door, and you could see where I am. It was like, damn, where Terrence at? And I was just sitting there, and Danny, Jason, I had some chips or Cheez-Its or something I was fucking eating, right? And they was like, damn, Terrence, you been there the whole time? And I was like, yep, you couldn't see me because I was blending in. I was invisible. Like, I'm telling you, like, it was damn near the same shit, like how slow I was moving my arm. Like, so just like some, like my friends in that moment, they all looked at me. They was like, damn, Terrence. Like, yeah.
So when you saw that scene, you were probably cracking up like crazy.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was like, this shit is too much like what I did. This is not like, oh, like this is damn near beat by beat, the body language and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, like for me, like I said, the Guardians of the Galaxy, it was good, it was okay. But from the first one, I just thought there was a drop off. Like you said, the ego, the planet wasn't such a great bad guy. There's some scenes I like in that, like when he's like, "That's my father," you know what I mean, and funny stuff.
Hey, Danny, you there?
He's muted. I think he probably.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Danny, I laughed my ass off because the scene where Ego was explaining to Peter, like, and he casually mentioned how he killed Peter's mom. That shit had me rolling.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why y'all discussing these movies with me. I told you I don't like that shit. That is the worst two movies Kevin Feige has made. I don't even know why he made that.
What?
No.
Okay, take out the Guardians of the Galaxy, and what do you miss?
What do you miss?
The only important character in there is Gamora, because
Thanos and not Nebula or Peter Quill, huh? None of them, huh? Wow. Okay. So Peter Quill, a man that's connected to the Celestials, a film that introduced us to the idea of a Celestial, is not important, huh?
What does Star-Lord bring to Endgame?
Let's see. You remember like when he was like there helping with the Avengers? I mean, each character that was there, if you take them out of the equation, Thanos would have whooped their asses all the more quicker.
Okay.
They only slightly prolonged it because
Batista,
of the
character. What he bring
Drax.
besides comic relief?
Okay, but again though, he was that you could say that for all the other Avengers. What did Hawkeye bring? What did Black Widow bring? Like,
if you listen to, go back and watch my streams. Hawkeye should have been the one on the damn cement dead, and Black Widow should have been alive. I've been said that.
Okay, but no. But see, here's the thing. Since you want to bring up Black Widow, like these characters, as cool as they are, they can't do much when it comes to those with those crazy ass powers. They're not DC characters. Like Black Widow and Hawkeye, the rest of them human characters can only do so much. They're little guns and arrows. Like there's only so much. Like so, it's really a team effort. Drax and Peter, all of them together is what helped slow Thanos down. Every person you remove makes the situation easier for Thanos to deal with.
Okay,
doesn't matter who you pick out.
I will give you that point, but I'm just here to tell you, I'm not spending my money on another Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I'm not buying.
So you're not going, but you don't know what's important in there. What if there's like a lot of important stuff in Volume 3?
You don't care.
Dan, you're not gonna sit there and tell me you're gonna miss an MCU movie.
If Thor gets mad and kills them, I'll go see it.
If Thor gets mad and kills the Guardians, I'm walking out because there's no story for that.
Yes.
So would this be the only Marvel movie that you wouldn't see if that's the case? You've seen them all, right?
Oh,
you're gonna miss one movie.
I'm lying about not going to see it, but I'm telling you,
okay.
It's gonna be one. I can tell you that. It will be a one-time purchase.
Okay, so if I were to,
I'm going to see it because I have this kind of channel and I got to discuss about it intelligently. Other than that, it ain't gonna get no second 1050 out of my pocket. I promise you that.
Okay, so if I were to call you up and be like, Danny, man, I got some great news, man. Like Kevin Feige wants me to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4. Like you're not gonna go and support it. Your boy directing it and stuff.
I just told you that I have to go watch these movies because I support this because this
No,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
channel
no,
I
no,
do.
no, no. That's by default. I'm talking about you wouldn't be happy for me that I have like such a crazy ass thing like that. You
I
wouldn't
gotta
like,
look at your script because if you start letting Star Lord and I Am Groot do all this crazy shit, I'll be like Terrence, dog. That shit sound pretty whack. I don't know if I'm gonna go see it.
okay, see, this is how people get thrown out by security, Danny. It's
No.
stuff like that. Like,
Okay. You want me to lie to you or tell you the truth?
Danny,
So-
no, that is not fair because you have a bias to hate the Guardians. Like they could do the greatest thing in any MCU movie. But that damn
That's what I was gonna ask. I'm like,
Man,
there's
I
not,
ain't
there-
a fan of I ain't a fan of Guardians. I'm just
there's
telling you.
nothing they could do that will make you like the movie.
What? How? Like they are these are characters that are in space. You know what that means?
I tell you, man,
Cosmic.
the only
Cosmic,
thing I
man.
like is the music. I can get down with Gamora, but I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. The whole damn movie. No, that shit was
That is
pissing me
not
off.
what he's saying. It
what he-
just sounds like
I don't know what the hell he's saying. He said the same damn thing all the damn
No,
time.
that is not true. Like Rocket Raccoon tells us what he's saying.
Okay, how about if I come on this show right here and say, I am Comic Chat. I am Comic Chat. You see your whole
That's not the same thing. You are not from a race that says I am Comic Chat. but Danny,
Guess
to be
what?
fair, Rocket Raccoon tells us what Groot is saying.
Man.
It translates all the time.
No, you don't. And I bet you go in there and say, hey humans, If you say that about 4 or 5 times, every time I say something, hey humans, guess what? Your ass ain't gonna be on the show no more. I'm like, nah.
Danny, I am not Groot though. Like if Groot were on this show and you were talking to him like, hey, so how you feel about
I better
coming
have
to America
captions.
too?
If Groot on my show, I better have captions under the bottom to tell me what the hell he's saying. He keeps saying,
Yeah, there you go.
But-
There you go. You're gonna be like, how do you feel about coming to America too?
I am Groot.
Groot. I am Groot. Like then you're gonna be like, what the hell is this? And he's gonna be like, oh, he was saying that he's looking forward to it because he enjoyed the first one. And you're just gonna be there rolling your eyes. I'm like, man, Groot is beast. Like
and that part in the movie where they tell
The
Groot,
thing you did was cut off your arm to make damn Stormbreaker damn handle.
yeah, there you go. See that? Without Groot, Thor wouldn't even have his hammer handle. Like
Really?
yes, Groot helped our boy out.
Dimitri got Star Metal, but he ain't got a handle to put on the thing, right?
Okay, but to be fair, sure they could have found a handle, but we got Groot breaking off some of him. Like, yeah, there you go. And because Groot is actually strong, it actually made the handle better compared to like say a generic handle.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you remember that scene when it was Baby Groot when they told him to get
the game away,
that he came with the
and he's like, I am Groot. And they're like, hey.
No, it goes on my head. Yeah, he came back with all kinds of that shit was gold, Danny. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Pissy gold because the show wasn't no real.
man, what the man? See, I'm gonna say that during my interview. They're gonna be like, man, everybody loves Volume 4. I'm gonna look into the camera. I'm like, well, one of my friends, he doesn't seem to be too proud of my work. You know who you are out there, sir.
You call my name. I'd be like, damn, Skippy, I didn't like the Guardians. I thought I'll give you the first one was okay, but the second one, shit.
You know, Danny, like
If it was on fire, I wouldn't piss on it to save it.
man, this is ridiculous. This is almost worse than yesterday.
Hey, go back in my playlist and pick when I rank the Marvel movies.
I would rather not relive a nightmare. Okay, like that's not.
I tell you the number and I tell you why.
Danny.
But
I believe
Iron Man
that you
3 is
explain
good though, right? You
Yeah,
save Iron Man 3, right?
Iron Man 3 was good. You go back and play it tomorrow. Yesterday, I said Iron Man 3 compared to some movies is better. So my old shit moment on Iron Man 3 was when I saw all of the armors. That was my old shit moment. And speak for you or Terrence. But what's the old shit moment on Guardians of the Galaxy?
The whole damn movie. What? Okay, first of all, in Guardians 1, the old shit moment is when they show Drax. That is one of the coolest characters that's underrated in Marvel. My boy Drax be doing all kinds of shit out in space. I was like, humans are gonna learn today who Drax is.
Okay, Drax is the one that sits in the ship and stands so perfectly still, eating corn chips that he's so
okay. Okay, he did a Terrence thing. I get it, but at the same time, you gotta understand. Like my boy called Ronan to the planet. That was dumb as hell, but like he called Ronan to the planet. I'm like, how beastie you gotta be to be like, yeah, that's right. Ronan's on the way. Why is that, Drax? Oh, because I called him. Like,
man,
the
hardest person on there was the guy with that whistling thing.
Yeah, Yondu. Okay, Yondu is cool, and the old shit moment for him specifically was in number 2.
When he got killed out, and I was like, "Oh shit! Why they kill him? They should have killed one of them other Guardians. They should have killed him."
No, absolutely not. Yondu dying was important for storytelling and for Peter and for the other for the OG Guardians to come out so we can see them because they were actually before the current team. Like we needed all that, so Yondu had to be dead as fuck for that to happen. So in number 1, we got Gamora and Nebula with Thanos. I was like, you not gonna tell me you gonna do all these MCU movies and not have Thanos' daughters, especially Gamora, because he loves her so much. Like I wanted to see the rivalry between Nebula and Gamora, and we got that because of the Guardians. The Guardians movies. You talking about you want to see Gore, the God Butcher, and Galactus and all this other shit. Without the Guardians, we wouldn't have anything cosmic. That is the setup for all of that. Okay, so you gonna sleep on Guardians, but you see this, Jason?
I do.
My boy talking about Galactus, but he don't want to see the dudes that started it up in space.
Yeah, I don't care about no damn Guardians, man. You wasting your breath.
Danny, so you don't like So you don't like Gamora? You don't like Gamora?
Yeah, all right.
You don't like Nebula?
Dead now.
Oh,
both
man,
them dead. In the timeline, both them suckers is dead.
Man, Gamora and Nebula are fun. Like, here's the thing. Sometimes in life, you need to rewatch Guardians 1 because I think you watched the wrong movie.
It ain't gonna happen, bro. Well, only thing I'm not watching is listen to the music.
No, that's not why you watch Guardians. You watch it for the characters.
No.
Jason, why is Danny messing up today? Like,
okay, I'm not messing up. I knew for the past 6-7 minutes, y'all just wasted your breath. Y'all ain't gonna change my mind. And let's go into the next category, which is Top Gun Maverick. They've been bringing this up so many times. I'm ready to see it. I guess Terrence is gonna say possibly the same thing you say about Coming to America. Maybe the time for it to play has passed. You don't have the same heat that it once had. So I know when it first was brought up about doing a remake, then it was a little heat to it. Now it's kind of cooled down. I'm not sure when the release date is, but I'm ready to see it. I think it's going to be pretty good. And like Terrence has said, Tom Cruise does all of his stunts, which I don't see. There shouldn't be much stunts in this. I'm pretty sure he's not flying those jet planes.
He flew it in the first one.
He did?
Yes.
And did all those crazy stunts and stuff?
Yes. Like he actually trained to fly that shit.
Damn.
Like there was a couple of them that he didn't do because they wouldn't allow him because they got him from like the military or whatever. But he was doing that shit, Danny. Like Tom Cruise is insane.
Oh, well, yeah, he's crazy because if you don't know what he's doing them jets, that's one thing to do a stunt, but you talking about millions of dollars worth of equipment and you up in the air, and if you don't get that right, buddy,
you know.
Did you see how he was flying them helicopters in Mission Impossible Fallout with Henry Cavill?
I saw Mission Impossible. I don't think I saw the last one, but I know he did his stunts in Mission Impossible. But I didn't realize he did all the flying and all that stuff. I thought you was talking about physical stunts, not actual.
No.
Machinery
Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible Fallout, he was flying them fucking helicopters. Like that again. like from a movie studio standpoint, they're not going to allow him to do certain things, but
Certain things.
there's a lot of things that actors can do that they won't do because they're like, nah, like I'd rather have the stunt person do it. So pretty much anything and everything that is allowed for Tom Cruise to do, he does 99.9% of that because that's what he wants. He wants the audience, he wants his fans to feel the moment with him, and he believes the only way to do that is by him to actually do it. And Daniel Craig is the same when it comes to his James Bond stunts.
Yeah.
Like
I agree with certain things like the fighting. I think they should because they can make enough money, they get enough time, where they should go learn. And I agree 1,000%. Some of the physical stuff like the jumping and running, I think Dwayne Johnson does a lot of his too, don't he?
He
Not,
does
not
a
as much
lot,
as
but
they do.
not as much as Daniel Craig
But
and Tom
if
Cruise.
it comes to like those stunts, those fools be doing
Keanu
on
Reeves
Fast
too.
and Furious, there ain't no way in hell I'm doing no Fast and Furious stunt. That ain't happening. That it will equate to the graveyard. If you don't know
Well,
what you're doing.
to be fair, they do a lot of stunts, but there's also a lot of CGI. Like with Tom Cruise in the context of Mission Impossible, or Daniel Craig in the context of Bond movies, their stunts are very raw, and they show you. Like when Daniel Craig is jumping from that building and he hits his head on the fucking wall to make it across to another balcony, that shit really happened. That's not a green screen. And it makes you, it amps up the intensity of the chase scene. Like that dude almost died.
When he run up that tall ass crane, I think when that he's in Africa or whatever, killing that guy, he put the bomb in that guy's throat.
Yep.
Man.
Or when he was fighting
Keanu
on
Reeves
the
too
train
does his own stunts, right?
Huh? Keanu Reeves?
He does a
Yeah.
lot of them, but not as much as like Daniel Craig and Tom Cruise. Those are.
I'm glad you brought. I'm glad you brought that up. I watched the movie last night, and I thought about our show we did yesterday. 47 Ronin. You ever seen that?
I love that movie. I do like the movie. I like that one. You don't like it, Terrence?
There are some action scenes in there that are cool, but the story is
Man, he fighting that damn
bad.
whatever that damn big ass animal in the first part. I'm like, and that guy, that his partner, he should be in the Dragon Ball Z movie. I don't know who he's gonna be. I think he'd be a perfect Vegeta.
You gonna have to show him to me. But
yeah, the guy that
wasn't in Wolverine, right?
Yeah, the guy was in Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the one that he fought when he was like, "What are you?" and he had his shirt off. That dude?
Yeah, when he took that thing out of his stomach and was able to get his powers back.
He was also on The Last Samurai. He was like,
yep.
Okay,
Could you see him as Vegeta?
Yes and no. Like that's interesting. Like I would kind of need to see him in the get up, but I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I've never seen him fighting. I mainly see him with the sword work and stuff. I don't know how he would do it.
That's not a problem because those Dragon Ball Z characters, they're not their techniques are not as martial artist as it is as much as them just throwing a bunch of punches and kicks. And because it's moving so fast, there's not a whole lot of technique that you need to implement. I mean, you could do any number. You can go, this person's doing karate, this person's doing that, and it can all work because they're going really fast. That's the key, is to have the characters move quickly. So all you got to do is train him if he doesn't know a whole lot of stuff. But since he's a very physical actor, that wouldn't be a problem at all. I wouldn't be concerned about that in the slightest.
Interesting.
But in terms of your question, though, with the Top Gun, I will not say the same thing that I said about Eddie Murphy. And the difference being is that people love Tom Cruise today, as in not based on past work, but today because of the Mission Impossible movies. And so Top Gun is one of those things where it has a loyal fan base. And because people like Mission Impossible Fallout, that made a fuck ton of money, which is why he's working on another 2 right now, back to back, as he should. As long as they're good, make 1 million of them. I don't care. But like, Tom Cruise has that weight. When people go, damn, what was Tom Cruise in recently?
Remember that badass Mission Impossible movie with him and Superman, Henry Cavill? Yeah, that's right. We're gonna go see Top Gun. So the likelihood of Top Gun succeeding is pretty high. If it fails, that wouldn't surprise me. But I feel like it's much more likely that a Top Gun would succeed over Coming to America 2. But I wouldn't put no money on it. But it's for me, I feel like I would be, if I was going to, I would bet on Top Gun 2 making more than Coming to America 2 if I had to choose.
I think both of them are iconic. I think both of them gonna cater towards different
genre people.
yeah,
Oh,
different
okay.
races. I
But-
think
But,
more white
but
people are going to see Top Gun, and I think more blacks are going to go watch and gravitate towards Coming to America.
That's true.
But how many black people though? Because like,
I know, but they come out pretty strong in our movies because look
I
at
think-
Black Panther.
okay, but Black Panther, but okay. First of all, Black Panther is an MCU movie, so you're talking about number one. It has the power of Marvel, specifically under Kevin Feige.
It does
That's
have
number
that
one.
too, but it came out in Black History Month.
Yes,
In my
yes.
profession, when I went to different people's houses that look like us, you seen Black Panther? It just in casual con. Oh man, yeah. I
Mhm.
mean,
You're right, but it succeeded on many fronts. Black History Month, MCU film, the first led black superhero movie in the MCU. On top of that, you have whites, Hispanics, and everybody watching it too. The Black Panther, the difference between that and the other MCU movies is that a lot of black people were not watching MCU movies. They definitely were not watching all of them. So with Black Panther, they turned out more than any other MCU movie, including Infinity War, because Black Panther is higher domestically, which is
Mhm.
interesting. That you got
Mhm.
one character that beats a whole team of motherfuckers, which is basically telling you that there is an appreciation for something that doesn't happen often when it's done properly. Not when it's forced, when it's done properly. So you got all that coming to America 2 doesn't have 20% of such momentum. It has none of that. It has
No.
at best Eddie Murphy, and the potential for it to do well is there. I will not be surprised either way, is what I'm telling you.
It has a lot of nostalgia, though. You know what I mean? Like
It does.
it has a
But-
lot of
but-
nostalgia.
Yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. Like the potential is there.
Mhm.
That's what I'm telling both of you. If it
Mhm.
does well, not surprised. If it
Mhm.
doesn't do well, not surprised. If it
Mhm.
does okay, also not
Mhm.
surprised. There's
Mhm.
nothing that this movie can do that will surprise me. Nothing.
Well, one thing I would definitely do right now is supposed to come out in August of this year. I would push it back to February. I would capitalize on Black History Month, and I would start November. I would have spots on TV. Boom, 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 boom. That's what I would do. I think if they do that, then it would be more successful versus coming out. Because I don't know if people still going to be gun shy about trying to come back out after this crisis that we're dealing with now.
People
Just-
probably will. It's going to take a while for people to actually feel comfortable to go back outside. You
Yeah.
know?
I don't know, man.
So-
Up in China, when they opened them theaters back, it flooded with humans. You know
Yeah.
why? Because they were sick of being locked up.
I
Well,
agree.
I ain't sick of being locked up because I
Well,
want to live. So I'm going to be.
Danny, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I know
that,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying, and I agree with you that there's going to be some people that's going to go back out there way before
yeah.
Danny goes back out there. I'm going to make sure when I stick my toe in the water, it ain't going to be hot at all. It's going to be lukewarm. I can go in there and stand my whole
It's gonna
body
be
there.
fine. I'm gonna send you a video like,
Well, you
Danny, I'm in the theater, brother. You gotta
Yeah.
join me. All right,
Yeah,
man. All right.
Then next week,
Oh, come on, like, Jason, you hearing this?
I'll be like, damn, Terry. Hey.
I went to
Danny,
see Bloodshot like a week before the theaters closed.
Hey,
You know,
who
there was
you?
nobody in.
Hey,
Huh?
hey, Jason, who you
I-
agree with? Who you agree with? Me and Terrence on that?
What the?
About waiting?
No,
I don't know.
about
Huh?
rushing back to the theater.
Um,
You gonna
I
take your
went- I
time,
went-
don't you?
I don't know because I went a week
Okay.
before it closed. I had my spray.
Same here.
I sprayed down my chair. I sprayed down. no one sat beside me, so I was like,
The
I'm
only
okay
way,
with it.
only way I'm
Jason-
going.
I'm okay with it.
Only way
Jason
I'm
did
going
more
with
than
the-
me. I didn't even spray shit down. I
Okay.
was like, give me my ticket. I sat down. Movie
Yeah.
started. That was it.
Let me tell you this: if Amazon starts selling one of them bubble suits with an oxygen tank, then I'll go ahead and order me one of them bad boys.
You
I
don't
ain't
even
trying-
need that, Danny. You already have what you need. You know what that
Listen,
is?
bro, I got one of the underlining diseases. Okay, I'm diabetic. I ain't trying to fuck with that. So I mean, you can do you if you want to go out there, that's you. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I ain't going out there till it's all clear. They got some kind of vaccination. I ain't fucking with it because I don't have to have that. I value my life way more than any movie.
Danny, I
Absolutely.
value your life as well. You're my
Absolutely.
friend, but I'm telling you, you already have what you need. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, common sense to keep my ass in the house.
No,
That's
no,
exactly what I'm
no,
saying.
no.
Yeah.
Aside from that, but you already have what you need.
What's that?
My friendship. That will keep you
Okay.
safe.
Yeah, okay. How the hell your friendship for 3,000 miles gonna keep me safe from the coronavirus?
I
Telling
knew he
you,
was
man,
gonna say that. Though.
all you gotta do is just before you go in the theater, you be like Terrence, and that's gonna create a bubble around you. And you're gonna be good.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your
Hey,
friendship,
it's gotta
bro.
be real. Hey, for the humans that are listening, you can't do that if you're not my friend, because then you're gonna die. But Danny, you say Terrence, that bubble gonna wrap around you.
Okay. Well, I hope you send the bubble in Amazon.
But okay, Danny, I was gonna say, in terms of Black History Month, you might be right, but the only reason why,
Man, that was a stroke of genius on Marvel and Feige's to put Black Panther in that month. I think that will set it over the edge. I really do.
you know what though, honestly, they could have put it anywhere and it would have did the same thing.
I don't know.
I know because look, let's look at this. Look at the pattern of the MCU movies. It don't matter when they come out. They're MCU movies. Also, it doesn't like it being a Black History Month, it did lay a landmark. That's absolutely true. I'm not denying that at all. However, it still has everything else aside from that. A likable character introduced in Civil War. The first Black character in the MCU that's getting his own solo movie. It's just all the hype is still there. And with that kind of hype, as we saw, it carried over $1 billion more higher domestically than Infinity War. Those things still would have been there. They still would have been there.
And they showed Africa in a light that you've never seen in a movie before, you know? Like Black people took that yes, you know,
Hey,
Africa.
Hey, Terrence.
Yeah.
When I put something on the screen, can you read it and see it?
Yeah.
All right, check this out. What my brother put on here. You gotta hold your hands up like Goku when he's making a spirit bomb. Terrence, lend me your energy.
Exactly. See, Davion, thank you, Davion. See, you know what I'm saying.
Okay. All right,
Yeah, you gotta put your hands up and you gotta hum that theme. Like when they was playing it when you was getting the energy. You hum that, Danny. Now, granted, people gonna be looking at you like you crazy as hell.
What is wrong with that
gonna
motherfucker over there?
We gonna see who's laughing when you save from Terrence's energy when they coughing and shit in the hospital. I'm just saying.
Okay, I hear you, big boy.
But nah, of course, Danny, silliness aside, of course, I want you to be safe.
For sure.
Same thing with you, Jason. Of course, I want you guys.
Oh yeah,
to be
I want us all to be safe, bro.
Have to.
I talked to Robert today, and he tested negative, which is a blessing.
Oh, that's good.
He's got a very aggressive flu. I told man take some Theraflu, bro. That's what I do, and take whatever them Z packs they give you, whatever.
Yes, hell yeah. The flu still kills people. What the hell? Like, so did you tell him that I was trying to check up on him and stuff?
Yeah,
like,
I told him all three of us asked about him.
Cool.
He said he appreciated it, and he texted me this morning and said that he got his test back and it's negative, which is I said thank you. A little concerned. I didn't know if the other thing was positive or not. But
I'll tell you one thing that'll get a chuckle out of him, Danny. Tell him Tell him to lift his hands up like Goku does the
Yeah.
spirit bomb. Now give
I
him
will.
spirit. That
I
shit-
will.
that shit is hilarious.
I'm gonna tell them that. I'm gonna tell them that. Let me see. I ain't got nothing else on my list, bro. I can't believe I wrote down 10 things. Top
I got
Gun.
one.
Okay.
I heard there was a rumor that they're gonna kill the Hulk in the She-Hulk movie in the She-Hulk series.
What?
That's what I heard.
I don't.
I was
The Hulk.
watching one of
The
those
Hulk is like unkillable.
They said they're gonna try and maybe have him like save his cousin She-Hulk and sacrifice himself.
Well,
to do
let
it.
me change that because in the live action, when they killed the Hulk in the Death of the Hulk, I was pissed off. I was like,
Me
really?
too.
This sucker fall from a plane?
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
And die?
but man, if you kill the Hulk, that's fine. You just got to do it in a realistic way. I mean,
That
it's
wasn't
like
realistic. I
no,
mean,
it wasn't.
at
That
all.
was not. I agree, but it's they.
Oh,
Look, man, like the to me the main number one death that was like what the fuck was when Superman was killed. No other character tops that shit. Not a single one. Because
No, I disagree. I'm telling you,
which character?
man, I was hurt when they killed Logan.
Oh,
Man,
okay.
I was so mad in that damn theater, boy. I was like, what the
Oh,
fuck? This
Really?
sucker done survive. He done survive a damn atomic bomb. All this other crazy shit he done survive, and he got too damn old. I mean,
Okay,
that don't make no sense what his power is.
Let me clarify. When it comes to movies, Logan, absolutely. I think Logan is better than 99% of MCU movies, just to throw that out there from a storytelling standpoint that actually has stakes to it and emotional weight. But what I was referring to was comic book stuff. That's specifically what I'm talking about. Because in the sake of the movies, you have the Hugh Jackman being there since the year 2000, which is most of my damn life because I was watching him when I was a kid, and then he died when I was like, late into being an adult. That's a journey. Of course, when you kill him, boom, I absolutely. But from a comic book standpoint, when I was told that they're killing the Man of Steel, it was like, what? What they killing them with? Because I mean, a bunch of people have tried and failed, but like, what they trying to do? Oh well, there's this monster that was told to me by my cousins. I was like, what do you mean a monster killed Superman? Like he's beating monsters? No, Terrence, this is different. You got to read this one. I read that shit. My mouth didn't even close the whole time. I'm like, this can't happen like this. He gonna be fine, right? Nope. He flipped through the panels. This motherfucker bleeding and shit, costume all ripped up. I was like, dear God. And then you get to see the world is mourning him. I was mourning before I even got to the end. I'm like, this don't make no sense.
Parents was like, "Ugh."
Hell yeah, I was like, no. I damn near didn't rip that fucking comic. Like I have respect for comics, so I didn't like do that, but that was like the only one where I wanted to rip that shit up and throw it in my cousin's face. I'm like, how dare you give me this shit? Then
I'm gonna tell you, I was a little like amazed when Superman died with Doomsday in Batman v Superman. I was like, damn, I thought he's gonna like pop up at the end or something, but shit,
for some reason,
he
that
didn't.
shit was stupid though.
I wasn't-
in that movie.
I wasn't even expecting that. I knew there was Doomsday who was gonna fight, but for some reason, I didn't expect him to kill Superman at the end of that
I
movie.
didn't either.
So
That
when they killed him,
movie, they fucked that up. That Doomsday is trash. The one
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Krypton, the
is
one in
the-
Krypton, is Doomsday.
God,
The
yeah,
one on Krypton was hell, boy.
oh my God,
They
I
should have
still-
did it like that.
I still got them two. I like the way they showed how they did it too, when they put this sucker in all kind of crazy, kind of like they did Deadpool, but in a way more advanced way. Just
Oh, that
keep
was
killing that
worse than
sucker
Deadpool.
and starting back and killing them and starting back over. I'm like, what? The
That
fuck?
was very close to what they did in the comics. I mean, it started when he was just a little thing in the comics, but I'd rather
And
go
then-
through Deadpool shit than what they did to fucking Doomsday. Doomsday
And then it
shit
was
is
crazy that the Zod and the L family did that shit. That
Mhm.
was crazy.
Yes, like when you are essentially trying to create the perfect specimen from a battle standpoint, I'm like, that sounds like you're going to have to do everything that I've never thought of to make this person like that. That's fucking crazy as hell. And in the sake of the movie, you can't put the death of Superman and Batman versus Superman in the same
Mhm.
movie. Those are two
Yeah.
different storylines.
I
Like,
agree.
you haven't earned that. Like, in terms of the death of Superman, if I were in charge of the DCEU, that's something that you build up for like 10 years.
Hmm.
So once not so much that this has to be MCU stuff. No, fuck all that. You don't copy the MCU. That's their formula. You do your own thing. I just mean in the sense of the build up. You have to get people to be attached to Superman. He has to go through all sorts of journeys. So that way, when you introduce the idea, like, hey, young man, you like Superman? Oh yeah, he was. I've been watching him for like the last 10 years. I remember when he defeated Brainiac. I remember when he did this, and that was a cool moment. So yeah, hey, so little Johnny, we gonna kill him in the next movie. That's gonna be pretty cool, huh? Like, and then you just see that facial expression drop. That's how you know you got him invested.
It's
If you
kind of
just
like how it
Yeah.
was on Crisis when Kingdom Come Superman.
sort of, but it's like
Maybe not to that extent, but he lost Jimmy,
Yeah.
he lost Perry, he lost Lois. Then he
Right.
comes over there. He's kind of getting back on his feet, and then boom, he damn
Okay.
dies because Lex Luthor switches place with him, and so you kind of sort of
Alright.
not as dramatic.
Yeah, like that's a good example on like I don't want to say a smaller scale because Crisis is as big as it gets, but I mean in the context of that story, that is a good example. You know what I mean? Because it's like you got the 5 hours right, and then like you said, he lost all these people. He beat the shit out of that bitch ass Superman from Supergirl. Everything was awesome with him. They should have used him instead of that weak one from Supergirl. Forget his own show and shit. Superman is my second favorite superhero. I'm not even excited about a Superman show coming. That's how you know they fucked it up. Anyway, like for that short time when Lex did his thing and Kingdom Come Superman was like, oh, he just fell on the ground. Danny, I didn't scoot up in my chair. Like, I was with my friends. We had different reactions. They was like, what the hell happened? I scooted up in my seat. I'm like, yeah, what's happening with Superman? Like, my voice started breaking and shit like that. So then he just dies, and then you see Lex like, yeah. So how y'all doing? I was like, you know what, Lex? I normally cheer for you. I swear to God, you better die by the like, it was
I did not like that Lex.
Really? Why?
Because as you see in Michael Rosenbaum, I mean, everybody else is just.
Oh, okay. Michael Rosenbaum is the best Lex I've ever seen. However, the one in the context of the Arrowverse, he's more
when I see him, I just
he's
see
more comic accurate in the sense of his accomplishments.
I like him as Lex.
I just saw him as Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor's silly ass nephew. That's what I saw him as.
I would rather deal with Gene Hackman. This is a dude that, number one, when he was introduced in Supergirl, he was killing a lot of people, and he forced his sister to watch it outside of her window before he was apprehended by the cops. That's his introduction into Supergirl. And then this dude completely manipulated Red Daughter, which is the Russian version of Supergirl, only to kill her in front of the entire world to make himself look like a good guy. These are some crazy ass feats already. And then you get the Crisis, and he's killing Superman across the multiverse.
Let's answer this question real quick. The question was about Hulk. I want to know what is a realistic way to kill Hulk. The only way you can kill Hulk is when he's David Banner, kill Banner.
No.
You can't even do that. But
No. See, what you have to do, like Death Battle explained to people, is you have to exhaust him. The Hulk can be exhausted. When someone can be exhausted, you can kill them. Whether that be that you have to separate, like when Hulk is with Bruce Banner, when he gets exhausted, he reverts back to Bruce Banner. Okay, you can kill him that way. If they are separated, the Hulk himself, even being just a pure rage monster, he has limits. He can be exhausted. He tires. You can kill him that way. At the end of the day, he is nothing more than a bunch of muscle, which can be broken through. Like a speedster, for example, can just phase through Hulk and kill him. he can just crush his insides in a second before he even has the thought to get stronger to be able to do anything to a speedster. The Hulk is only when Hulk says, "All right, Hulk is strongest there is," only in the context of characters that you can deal with, buddy. There are people stronger than you are. You're not that impressive. People, the way that they build Hulk up is greater than his actual storylines. Because while he has some cool ones, he's not as powerful as people say. There are plenty of ways you could take him out, but you need to have the right characters. A lot of those characters are in DC, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I know I've read, like I said, I read some of the Immortal Hulk on there. Like that sucker is gonna live forever. I don't know. I'm not a
all
Hulk
you gotta
expert.
do. The thing that you can do with characters that live forever is you just erase them from existence. There's DC characters that can do that. That's how you do that.
Got you.
Anything else, guys? Because it's getting close to that time.
Oh, I thought we had like
10 hours. You know?
I told me and Jason both told you how you can scream for 10 hours, but you ain't trying to listen.
No. That's
You
not
ain't-
the same. Breaking it
Yes,
up
it
in
is.
segments
Yes, it
is
is.
not the same thing as
If-
10 hours straight.
If you're on, if no, it ain't. You can start your own show and you can stream as long as your heart desires.
No. That's not
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
As
My
us
heart-
having a 10-hour stream straight.
Well, my heart desires 180 minutes. Right now, we're at 2 hours and
Why
51
is
minutes,
your
which
heart cutting out so much time?
is
That's
9 minutes shy of my goal. Because you know, like you're disciplined and need your nutrients. I'm disciplined when it comes to this streaming stuff. I'm very disciplined.
I see
3
what you
hours
did
is
there.
all I'm gonna get.
I see what you did there, but the
You
thing
like
is
that, don't you?
I think it's quite clever. However, you know, the 10-hour stream is much more clever when it comes
Okay.
to divulging information.
All right. Well, you better put 10 hours and 8 minutes. Because that's how much more time you got, brother.
But yeah, but no, you know,
Now, if we do this again tomorrow, I've done given you 9 hours of my life.
that's
And
it.
you,
I mean,
and
look,
you still asking for more.
Danny, how many? Okay, between all the streams, all the
streams you ever been
calls
on,
and the Texas,
all the streams you ever been on, you probably got 2 weeks.
right. What, like, okay, we add up all the stream time, all the conversation from, you know, texting and calls. It is a fair amount of time,
That's
but
correct.
but to me, you know, I feel like, you know, an extra 30 hours would, you know, wouldn't really hurt anything.
You want them people that you try to give a mile,
You take a yard.
but you take 10 miles. I'm
Oh,
giving
okay.
you a mile.
see, that's where it would be interesting. Like, you know, the Justice League be like, look, Terrence, you can have this part of the planet, but if we catch you on the other side, that's it. Like,
And guess
nah.
every time they catch it, they say, okay, we're gonna give you Australia, New Zealand, all that stuff, but don't set foot in South America. Shit, times we look around, you be in South America dancing.
Yep. I'm
What
like,
the
hey,
hell, Terrence? You not
it's
take
gonna
girl
be-
back to Australia? What the
you
hell?
know what though? Like, honestly, it would be interesting because, you know, that's not warrant for the league to kill me, but it would end up pissing them off. So their responses would be interesting. Like, especially Superman, like hovering over, like, Terrence, the fuck did we just talk? Like, it's gonna be Superman cursing and shit. Like,
God damn you, Terrence! What the
yep.
hell?
It-
Beep, 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 beep.
Yep. And then it's gonna be Batman with just the most serious expression, just like, you know what, we gonna have to like lock him up where he lives, and they're like, well, that would actually violate the agreement. Batman would be like, well, ain't this motherfucker violating the agreement right now? Yeah, by being over here. Like,
I'm Batman. All you got to say is that I'm Batman. You be flying back to Australia.
yeah, for some reason he's just gonna he's gonna click a button and like some fucking crazy high speed jet is gonna snatch my arm and take me all the way back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What does it say right here? My brother's reading this book. Immortal Hulk let a dude cut him into pieces just to test his immortality. Yeah, that Immortal Hulk, man, he on a different level. I think he's more powerful than World War Hulk. In fact, when I go back, shit, I might get it on. I got Marvel
I think-
Unlimited.
I think Danny. I think that's. I would say he's slightly more powerful, but again, for every character, for the most part, unless they're like the god of the DC universe or something like that. For the most part, there's always an answer to every character and a solution to every problem. Whether that means that you need a whole team or you need a particular person. Because for the longest time, people, yeah, look at me. I got Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, bitch, I got Shang-Chi. Both of them motherfuckers are dead. What you got to say now? And then they got to go on to something else. Like, you just got to let them know how to solve that problem. That's all you got to do.
Hey, Terrence, you see what Mad say? Terrence just stare Batman down and say, "I'm Terrence."
Hey, Danny, would you laugh if that were a legitimate scene in a DC movie where Batman is like,
I'm like, oh,
and
you say
just
I'm
in the crowd-
Terrence.
Yeah, like imagine the crowd reaction because he's gonna say I'm Batman. Everybody gonna be like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, my response, I'm Terrence. Like,
I'm like, oh hell, I'm like, Terrence about to get his ass kicked. I got to see this.
what would you do, Danny, if like for some reason you're watching this movie? You know, nobody know who I am, but you know, you, Jason, everybody, you guys have interacted with me, but you notice that the character that I'm playing is who I am in real life. And everybody's like, yeah, what DC character is this? You guys are just sitting there laughing because you already know what's up.
Yeah.
You got this scene and we going back and forth. Like, what would be your reaction? Like,
Hey, if it was you, Terrence, I'd be like, hey, that's that new DC character, and you facing Batman. That's Fool Ass Man right there. That's his name. Batman is about to mess him up.
So what would you do though? Like if it was like this 10-minute back and forth fight scene, like would you be surprised? Would you be happy? Like what would be your
I'd be
reaction?
like, damn, Terrence got some skills, but
But no, like honestly though, like you know, for the sake of entertainment, like you know, if they're telling me, okay, we're gonna do you as you in the context of DC, naturally they would have to suit me up because obviously I would need something to go up in the DC universe. I can't just go as I am. So they would have to enhance me somehow. So I just let them know it depends on how you write it. Because if I'm just me, then he should just wipe the floor with me. But you know, that can only be so entertaining. If I'm supposed to be like the surprise villain of the movie, I'm like, yo, we gotta have this epic battle. I gotta
what's
have
that guy that he's like a superior boxer and he taught he get his suit is all black. He looked kind of like a dog or something.
Wildcat, yeah.
Is he enhanced or he just
No. The one with the Panther outfit, he's just a badass.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wildcat.
at certain points, he took enhancements, but he's just like picture if you snatch him out of the JSA and you put him in real life, like any sort of fighter in real life, he'd just be able to slaughter him. Like he'd be like that dude. Like it'd be unlikely that you're gonna find somebody that's gonna beat him. So that's what you have to do with most comic book characters when you apply them to reality. If they're okay with those kinds of people, when you put them in real life, they're just going to be way too exceptional. That's how
because Justice Unlimited had a lot of just badass human fighters. Now I think about it. Hawk and Dove.
You gotta see Titans, man. Hawk and Dove is fire on Titans, man. Like, man, they be killing in that shit.
And that guy with you can't see his face. The question. What the
I'm still waiting to see the fucking Question in live action. Like I want there to be a whole episode where he shows up next to a dumpster and reaches in and pulls out this crazy ass textbook. Like, yeah, that's right. I got the answers for y'all. Like the Question is cool as hell for that.
Man. On that last episode, like they're trying to compare him with the intelligence of Batman. I don't.
Okay, here's the thing. The Question is somebody where he just seems to have the answers to everything. Like he's the dude where he reaches in the trash. It might as well be a portal in there. He pulls out a book or a weapon. Like he's hacked on that level. But there are certain things that he doesn't know that Batman can know, but that can also go vice versa. So them together would just be like whoever is up against the two of them. might as well kill themselves because they're going to have so much information that I don't care how hacked your team is. They will discover all the weaknesses and you will be dead before the sun goes down.
Yeah. I agree with that. Well, gentlemen, it's been 3 hours and 11 minutes. I enjoyed this chat. I will offer again tomorrow if y'all want to be out here, want to do it. Tomorrow is Good Friday. I have nothing to do. I have nothing but time on my hands till Monday morning, 7:15 a.m. If you want to do it, I'm throwing out the offer. Same time. I said 3 on Twitter, but I should have said 4 on what I was thinking. But 4 p.m. tomorrow is good for me if you want to do it tomorrow, Terrence and Jason.
Yeah, for sure.
Just just send me the link and stuff.
I'll see
let
it.
you
I'll
know.
see the link. I got another show at 7 with Chris, so I got to run. I got to grab something to eat. But I enjoyed it, man. I had a good time.
Me too, man.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, like honestly, I would just want to get trained by Batman. That'd be like the best thing. That'd be the best thing for my training. Like all the training that I have with all the mental stuff. If Batman could take me under his wing, oh shit.
Yeah,
Shit.
you be Black Man.
Remember that movie Blank Man, Danny?
Yeah,
Blank Man.
That shit was so whack. Oh my god.
Man, that movie was awesome. It was like the Black
Come on,
Batman
Daddy.
and Robin.
Let's go. Let's discuss that tomorrow. I ain't trying to get in that 'cause I know if I
All
start
right, yeah.
now, you doing another
Remember,
30 minutes.
Jason, remember that.
I will.
We got to start off with Blank Man because
I
that
will.
movie.
I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it down right now. I want to start off with Blank Man, and we're gonna discuss Black Lightning. I meant to do that today.
Okay,
Blank
yeah.
Man.
There you go.
Okay.
Blank Man and Black Lightning. We could
Black
easily.
Lightning.
Oh boy, that movie don't get brought up enough. Blank Man. Man.
That movie was so hilarious,
Oh,
bro. That
God.
movie
That
was so
movie
good.
is funny.
What's the one with Robert Townsend?
You
Meteor
talking about
Man.
Meteor Man?
I bet you thought that was hot too. You thought that was hot too,
Remember?
didn't you?
Absolutely.
Danny, those movies are that the movies had one job, which are to be silly, and they succeeded in doing that. They weren't trying to be nothing
Absolutely.
else.
I got them written down for our top 3 discussions tomorrow. We're
All
gonna
right,
make sure.
Blank Man, Meteor Man, and Black
And
Lightning.
Black Lightning.
Gotcha.
All right, fellas.
And why don't you write Blade on there too? We might as well cover him. We can cover all of them.
Blade. We will do it. All right, fellas. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. We will continue this conversation tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, take it easy and fellas, stay safe. Just hang on after we sign off.
Peace.
All right.